we're about to find out. I'm Zach Vexel. Joining me is Davo Comes here on the cast. How we doing?
Doing pretty good. Really excited. Playoff games are the most exciting ones, after all. So I'm super stoked into seeing who would be going to our Walkers finals to play the good boys.
A lot of very standard bands here going out so far. You know, we see the Athena, the Karen, Ratatasker, Danzaburo seems to be a pretty staple one here in this league. Sun Wukong, get rid of that safety in my solo lane. I don't want it. The Kukulkan, you know, he did move up pretty decently in the recent patch, I want to say. A lot of clear on that god, a lot of secure on him, and I don't think he was in too bad of a position beforehand either.
Yeah, no, but especially now, people be utilizing him extremely well with just the setups on with the tornado, and then like you said with the secure and the clear. So I do like that, the ban, just extremely strong god.
Speaking of strong gods, Ganesha getting locked in for Bodega Hive here in the first slot. Now, Ganesha alone is a very, very good pick. He's this nice middle line. I can throw up my ultimate. I can apply peel. We can do a little bit more engage style stuff. Just a lot of utility with this god, and in the hands of Darth Dumbledore, who has had a very solid season on him, not only this season, but in the previous season as well. I see nothing wrong with this being in the first pick, and mirroring over on the other side being the Geb, who I think is another very strong backline support style god.
Yeah, both gods. I mean, could peels help out your team, but I do favor the Ganesha a little bit more. Just being able to, stop a god from doing anything, especially when the jungler is like on your backline. Just silence them, and then hopefully your backline just targets the jungler who's on top of you.
Yeah, how are you supposed to dive anybody's backline if A, you get silenced initially, B, then you get grabbed, and then C, whatever follow-up then ensues then after? It's never fun. This chalk pick I find very interesting. Now, we have seen his numbers come up ever so slightly. It's been moving up, moving up. God has good pressure. You build him a little bit damage, a little bit hybrid style. You know, he doesn't really match what you're looking for with early clear in terms of like maybe a Sun Wukong going with your Bluestone Solier build, but the god still does put out good numbers. He heals, he sustains in lane, and has that big silence ultimate as well. Now, over on the other side, this Robin pick is one that I'm really interested in. Well, Izanami, okay, hyper clear, of course, she's going to run it down and she's going to help balance out what Ganesha lacks over in the early game. Cool. But the Robin pick. Now, this is a pick who, okay, talked about the Kugel Khan and how he was not too bad beforehand and is doing better after his changes. Robin was good beforehand and then received quite a significant amount of buffs. And now I think this pick is just insane. Absolutely insane.
Yesterday I was casting the Kane's game when I was talking bad about Amaterasu jungles, so I'm not going to do that same mistake and talk about a Robin jungle. But it is an interesting pick. Robin could just be good in the right hands. If this is a jungle, I do expect Jimmy to, be some sort of a bully or get into the backliner's face with that, shield from his ult, that escape with his backflip. So I'm pretty excited.
Do you think the Robin isn't a good pick? Is that your worry?
Slightly.
Huh.
But
honestly, in my opinion, I think this pick is insanely good. You know, like the way I look at it, he was good beforehand. This bruiser, I'm going to get in your face, ultimate dealing, make you take increased damage. He's got a root, he's got a slow on a very low cooldown, and then he's got that immunity with the overhead kick that still does damage if you want to be that weird person who uses it for damage. But looking over at the other side, we see the Bastet get locked in. Another very nice all-around pick. CC removal. You're going to be burning beads with Bastet. You're going to be burning beads with the Geb. You're going to be burning beads with the Chalk. And when I see two people over on the Bodega side who are lacking CC immune ults, I can see that as being a threat. Powering through these second phase bans, though, we see the Scylla and the Morgan Le Fay getting removed over on the side of Vibe Tribe, and the Janice and the Yaga getting removed over on the side of Bodega Hive. good mages who can scale up, good mages who, and if you look in the Baba Yaga sense, has a lot of sustain. Baba Yaga and Morgan Le Fay, anyways, have a lot of sustain on those two picks right there. A lot of versatility in them as well. But you got the scaling with the Janus, not to mention global ultimate, being able to send your team wherever they feel like. Still, again, a lot of scalability on that pick. Objective secure. Let's just remove these mages from the game.
Yeah, and I don't think they're bad bans. You know, sometimes game could be heavily reliant on the mage to throw out an ability and just one shot anybody. So with these like the Scylla ban, throwing her crush instantly could melt the health of a backliner. The Giannis with his two, so and then the high sustained with the Baba and the Morgan. So it's not bad bands in my opinion.
Not bad bans at all. Certain Nunos is our first pick coming here into the second phase over for Vibe Tribe, and that one should go over to the ADC role comfortably. I know I love my niche picks and other roles, but Cern's a very stable ADC hunter, has good scalability, has a lot of potential. These Devourer's Gauntlet built, it just does so well for him. I don't know why he needs really anything else. The one thing I do see that is concerning is that you do see a Raven over on the other side. What does a Sir Nunos do when somebody gets on top of him? He presses that 4 button at his feet and hopes he can root him in place, but Raven's the one character who can just immune all of that, immune any form of your escape that you can possibly do. Blinks on your face, dumps kit, immunes anything that you have. You dash away, what does he do? Just ult after you? I'm a little bit worried, but I'm hoping that the Geb pick can synergize with the Sir Nonos. They can really protect the backline that they have, and I know we'll find out how much better it's going to be once we see the last pick over from Vibe Tribe, but we do see the Nike and the Poseidon over on the side of Bodega Hive, a very safe solo laner. Not too worried about the chalk damage, but then the Poseidon, let's just cracking somebody. What's Bastet going to do if she gets grabbed by the Ganesha into the Whirlpool, into the Kraken? We're going to force this guy to buy beads.
Yeah, I'm liking the draft pick on Vibe Tribe. No, sorry, Bodega's side. Um, Ganesha could grab someone, Robin could just root someone again. Izanami could just silence that person who's rooted and a Kraken right down your throat. It's a good team comp, and I'm excited to see what they do. And it seems like they're gonna pick up the Raijin. Raijin's pretty strong. I like the Raijin being able to throw barrels down with the fierce and the taunts.
And it's definitely got good scalability, good damage on that pick. You did see a little bit of a falling off because, we'll take him out of the solo lane, but still very reasonable in the mid lane. No problems there. But when I am looking at these two team comps, I see some good team fight potential over on the side of Vibe Tribe. But I also see that over on the side of Bodega Hive. And the other thing that I do see on top of it with Bodega Hive is the amount of objective play. We're going to be shredding things down with the Izanami and Poseidon pick here. And then we have a Kraken to secure. We have a Ganesha silence to prevent anybody from coming through. We have Ganesha pillars to prevent or to just absolutely burn down whatever objective that this team goes on. I'm a little bit worried if Vibe Tribe is not getting proper vision up, if they are not paying attention to what Bodega Hive is doing, they could easily slip away every single objective out from under the nose of Vibe Tribe, and that's what I can see as being concerning.
Yeah, and then with the Ganesha ult, you could place it on top of an objective, or as well as you could place it in some sort of corridor to just deny access to the team, to the enemy team, just because of how much damage those pillars could do, and as well as the slow.
We're going to find out in a few minutes, but for the time being, we're going to go into a quick pause break. We will be back with game number 1 momentarily. The last of our semifinals set. Again, I'm Zach Vexel. With me is Dave O'Combs, and over on our spectator is Deacon for tonight. Now, before we went over to the break, we were talking about how these picks are lining up, how these teams might end up playing this game number 1 here, and the way that I see it, as we were saying, Bodega Hive has a lot of potential in the objective department, being able to shred things down, secure these objectives. I'm wondering how Vibe Tribe is going to play around this.
Yeah, I think at this point it just mainly try to focus out one of the backliners, especially most likely the Poseidon, just of his damage output with that Kraken. Um, if you could, oh, yeah, wait, no, sorry, talking about the right team. Little woozy, sorry, started drinking early for New Year's. But yeah, if you could just get the Poseidon, you know, l- low or as well as not in the team fights as often, I think Vibe Tribe could get the win off of game one.
Vibe Tribe needs to sit there and figure out how they're going to move around this Bastet Chalk combination, because how well Izakor can get into the back line of Bodega Hive and create a sort of disruption that'll allow its ISO to just make their way around and get some nice cleanup picks, which is what a Bastet wants to do. You know, you never want to be jumping in as a Bastet. You're going to end up finding yourself on the gray screen more oftentimes than not. But here it seems are, just clean up real nicely, nothing too spicy over in the items department, get your jungle farm, get over to lane, and we'll see where things start shaping up now as our dual lane is making their way on in. Of course,
And we
obviously,
do see
Izanami gets in there first.
we do see the Cernos going in for the death tell or death temper starter just for the higher sustain than the Izanami. But
Honestly,
everything
when I see that
else
death
pretty
toll,
easy.
in my opinion, I think that I want to fight. I want to be looking, I want to be getting in there, I want to get involved and just take charge in lane. I'm interested how that's going to happen because the Izanami is such a hyper clearing pick. It's going to be difficult in order to clear this wave for this Geb Cernunos, as we are seeing already, and they're getting pushed under tower for the Cernunos to get any damage off that he's looking for. In my opinion, they want to hold this wave back. Keep it back by their tower line, no problem. You're not really going to be able to contest these shield buffs.
Yeah, and you can see that the Geb is pretty poked out already.
Speaking of pretty poked out, looks like Bastet over here, its ISO is finding himself blinking out of there after taking a significant amount of damage. Still going to make the rotation over here for the first shield buff. Not really going to get a whole lot off of it, though, as 3 members of Bodega Hive are here and very ready.
Good rotation off of, the Robin and the Poseidon being able to just poke out the Bastet, knowing that the Bastet was going to go into the dual lane. Kind of forces her out, not being able to contest that shield buff.
We're in the solo lane. Chalk getting a nice early push over there, taking the damage to the Nike. Geb getting a nice rollout. Oh, just off the mark is the dash from Darth Dumbledore. They're going to walk themselves away and get ready for this next wave, it looks like. Good vision over here so far for the dual lane. There's wards on the aggressive and passive side for both teams. I don't think they're worried about a gank anytime soon.
No, I don't think so. Especially how that slight gank earlier when the Robin showed up just for the shield buff. I don't think they should be trying, especially because Cernos and Geb is just pretty safe, could get out easily.
The fact that Bodega Hive is still sitting over here applying pressure to this next wave could have meant an invade potential, but looks like Midgard took a little bit too much damage. They're going to make their way on back to their own buff this time. No harm, no foul there.
And in the solo lane, the Robin got the invade off the Chalk's blue buff. Was something we didn't see quite early.
Nice successful invade by the Robin. It's good. Jungle is Jimmy going to be applying that pressure over there. I think he saw that Bendizzle was getting a little bit poked out by Izakor in this early game. Now you're a Chalk without any mana sustain. Granted, Chalk's entire passive is built around mana sustain. I don't think he's going to be too worried if he plays around that. Get a couple autos off, throw an ability, get a couple autos off, throw an ability, rinse and repeat, and you'll be fine on mana, especially if he's getting these totem buffs. And if you can't stop him from getting totem buffs, then I don't think he's going to be worried at all.
Yeah, and he does get the first blood. As you saw there, being able to sustain with his rain does quite a bit of damage with the axe, and as well as if he has his passive charge, just a little bit more extra damage. Um, the only thing is, Chalk is very mana reliant, and it is quite unfortunate that he got his blue buff invaded and stolen.
Gonna sit here just waiting over in the dual lane for Izanami to get back. Everybody kind of getting their backs up. A very interesting ultimate coming out from Darth Dumbledore, I guess, to just zone off the enemy team over on Vibe Tribe, make sure that the wave didn't get cleared too fast so Midgod could get back, get some minions online. Now that, well, he's got tier 2 Devos. A lot of people seem to have backed and got their second tier of their items online. Only completed items over in the mid and the jungle side for Bodega Hive. Getting that Book of Thoth online for the Poseidon early is going to help him out significantly. Getting those stacks way ahead of Raijin.
Yeah, and um, you know, the, whoever stacks the Book of Thoth early just kind of wins that exchange. Um, and we do see Chalk dropping the or forgetting about the tier 1 Glad Shield and goes for the Pridwin instead.
Huh. I think that's very interesting. You're going to have this increased cooldown reduction on your Chalk. Your blue buff is already getting invaded twice now, but you don't have any mana sustain yet outside of your passive. So what are you really going to be doing, I guess, with this extra CDR that you have in your pocket now? I think that's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, and if I'm Ben Dizzle, every time I see that ult, I'm just jumping away from it, not getting hit by it. And as well as he'll be losing quite a bit of mana off of his ult.
On the plus side, he did secure first blood. I must have missed that one. But oh, my microphone cut out there. Nice.
Nice.
I love technical. People making their way on back, completing their first items. We've got the Jotuns over on both sides of the jungle right now. Gonna get, again, more CDR in the pocket of these players, be able to get more abilities off and apply a lot of that early pressure. And I think in the jungle, we see a lot of the standard build right now going with this Jotuns, Hydras. It's not a lot in terms of power, scalability, but what it does allow you to do is get that kind of early pressure and having 30% CDR early, get a lot of abilities off, hopefully make some good gank attempts. Outside of that, you're not going to be scaling up too hard in the late game.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice, to be able to throw out your abilities, especially if you're like the Raven, who could just throw out like 2 abilities and it's already doing quite a bit of damage to you. The best at being able to jump in and jump out.
Gank over here, very successful on top of the Nike, getting her in a difficult position. Ultimate fired over by Izakor. Ultimate as well, followed up by Ben Dizzle. Got the jump away, but here comes the Bast ult. Huntress of Bast does end up securing onto the Nike, and another kill going down. And it looks like Ben Dizzle falls yet again to the gray screen. That's 2 deaths now for this Nike.
It's get the access denied from the Ganesha in that little corridor.
Looks like Vibe Tribe is wanting more, though, getting up here, getting very aggressive, or most of they want to secure their first blue buff.
Yeah, and good on the Bastet, just trying to keep the Nike at bay. Nike could be a really strong god late game.
Ultimate for Beads trade over here in the dual lane. Very nice. And it looks like Robin is then going to secure that one. Jungle Jimmy taking down the ADC for Vibe Tribe. Beads expended from both of these ADCs now. I see some very good gank attempts that could come off over here within the next 60 seconds, I would say, when those purple buffs end up spawning yet again.
Yeah. I wouldn't blame both junglers showing up in that duo side, or as well as even one of the supports showing up just to try to get a kill over there.
Not a lot going on now. It looks like teams are kind of just going back into their farming state. Okay, we've got a lot of ward vision though over in the dual lane jungle side for Vibe Tribe. You got one up on your side of the purple buff. You got one over near the enemy team's purple buff, which we see getting pinged out right now by Bodega Hive, recognizing that there is a ward over there. You're not going to be able to get too easy of a gank off. However, oh wait, never mind. That is their own ward. As we see the Bastet making their way on in, it's ISO recognizing that there are no beads on these ADCs, just off the mark with the Huntress of Bass, but does get the leap off. A little bit of extra damage, gonna force. Oh no, does that cat? Oh, just barely ends up getting away. Very low HP is Midgod. Gonna send him back to base. Does get his purple buff invaded, however. Very much what we. Oh. Hold that thought, as the back did get canceled over in the dual lane side, and Bastet is willing to dive that one, no problem. Instead, Midgod to the gray screen this time. Jungle's making their presence known over here in the dual lane already.
Yeah, good rotation. It was good knowing, to show face, being able to stop that Izanami back, even though if the Izanami kept it going, they might have been perfectly fine in Fountain. I do believe the Bastet would have been slightly late if she did jump in. But then it was just a good play all around for that Bastet to get that kill.
Yeah, it was good recognition from the jungle of the Vibe Tribe, recognizing that, okay, the beads are down from both of these ADCs right now. If we make an attempt right before this purple buff spawns, we're easily going to get a kill. No problem there. What was upsetting, though, was that the purple buff wasn't invaded off of that, and we did see Midgod come back and just secure their own purple buff. No problem. Still going to be able to maintain that lead as a result.
Yeah, could have been just the Bastet was, got a few tower shots in and would have thought that the Robin was going to come in for the counter gank. So it just, some sort of safe thinking. I don't mind it, but we would like to see that.
Huntress of Bass onto Ganesha. Hold that thought as Darth Dumbledore is trying to get a little bit on top of its ISO, but its ISO's going to drop that ultimate and run on away. Thinking they were going to get a nice sneaky blue buff invade off, but the support of Bodega Hive ended up showing up, making sure that they can defend that one.
Yeah, nice thing about Ganesha, if he shows up, you're kind of in a tough spot. He could grab you, he could silence you. So it's like you're not going to be safe anywhere around a Ganesha in your face, just due to all the CC that he could dish out. And plus, with his damage ability with the one, does do quite a bit of damage too.
First beacon down, and it looks like 4 members of Bodega Hive are here and ready, but so are a few of the members of the Vibe Tribe. Bastet jumping on in, seeing if they could get a little bit of damage off its ISO. Finding themselves in, but here comes Chalk. Get that critter, ends up finding Scooby Daddy Doo for the first pick of this team fight, and now it looks like Get That Critter's trying to get on out of there, as he is 1 HP in a dream right now. Shell gets popped by the Geb, and he is absolutely living. However, Jungle X Jimmy ends up finding him. It's ISO trades that pick. Both the jungle and the mid going down right now for Bodega Hive. However, the beacon did go down for the Vibe Tribe. Vibe Tribe coming out on top right now going into this team fight. And it looks like if I were Bodega Hive, I'd be making my way on out and probably going back and get a little bit of farm going on.
Yeah. You lost your jungler in that pursuit. With the Robin jumping in there, being able to steal that kill. You could grab some farm. I don't think either team could try to get the Gold Fury. Even though, Vibe Tribe gets the beacon in. I wouldn't think they are healthy enough or as well be able to get that Gold Fury off of that beacon.
Yeah, still a little bit early. The Sunos did just recently finish his Devos Gauntlet, getting those stacks online. Doesn't have any form of good penetration yet, as we see over on the other side. Midgod does have that executioner. It's going to help a little bit for hold that, as we see a little bit of a gank going on over in the solo lane. Sentinel Zeus is popped by the Nike. Just to add a little bit of a buffer, rollout gets interrupted though, and it looks like the Raijin ends up dropping those Taiko drums. Ultimates expended from members on both sides, and doesn't seem like too much is coming out of it. I guess Nike was able to clear her wave. So
Yeah. You know, I don't really like that rotation from the Raijin, and as well as I don't necessarily like the slow rotation from the Poseidon. If I was at Poseidon, I would just try to push down the lane even more, try to get, you know, the bastions down, try to get more damage on the tower.
Gavin, a very difficult position, but it doesn't seem like Bodega Hive wants to commit. Teleport comes off from Izakor, making their way on over, getting set up maybe for this Gold Fury, as we do see the members of the Vibe Tribe headed in that direction right now, hoping to catch a member of Bodega Hive out in this jungle so they could likely pick up this objective.
Yeah, and you know, I would suspect, you know, try to get the Poseidon out and get the objective, because that's, you know, their biggest secure in this game. Getting that Poseidon out would be easier for your team to be able to get the Gold Fury without, you know, worrying about a giant Kraken dropping down on it and stealing it off of your team.
No, without a doubt. But if I'm Scooby Daddy Doo, I'm recognizing. Oh, whoa. Blink Storm Call coming out from the chalk over here, forcing the beads from Midgod. Gonna be able to get that dash away. And now you know you don't have that Blink ultimate from the chalk, but that is incentive for Vibe Tribe to pick up this Gold Fury. Beads and Aegis dropped by Get That Critter once he saw that Kraken come out from Scooby Daddy Doo. However, the Gold Fury is already down to 40%, 30%, and a lot of members from both teams are nearby, and it looks like Bodega Hive ends up taking that Gold Fury away with a nice combination of ultimates from Jungle Jimmy and Darth Dumbledore, able to secure that one for their own team and extending their lead, honestly, right now to 43k. Getting that 3k gold lead, but the fight yet continues, and now it looks like Izakor's in a bit of a difficult position, trying to chase people down, but also trying to keep himself alive. It's ISO though. Yeah, still sitting on the back line, ends up finding Midgod, ends up picking up two. Scooby Daddy Doo falls as well, and it looks like that Stormcaller is back up thanks to that 30% CDR on this chalk now at this moment. A lot of early CDR on that god, going to be able to get a lot of abilities off, and during this entire time, Ben Dizzle's just chilling over in the solo lane, pushing it down, almost taking a tier 2 for himself.
Yeah, good plays all around. I mean, shout out to Bodega being able to steal that that Gold Fury, but also Vibe Tribe being able to get 2 kills off of Bodega Hive. Pretty much 2 kills for the Gold Fury, and then just being having Ben Dizzle pushing down lane, you know, recognizing that the chalk is over there. I always like, you know, play pushing, and then as well, you know, you expended the chalk's TP from going over there, I believe. Is it down? Don't remember. Yeah, it's down. So knowing that chalk will take quite a while to get to your lane, so just easy push down the tower.
Get that Critter in a very difficult position at this HP right now, but it looks like Izakor is back yet again, dropping another Storm Call on the team of Bodega Hive, getting set up for this beacon right now. Get That Critter ended up making their way back to base. No relics on that Raijin puts them in a very difficult position, as we saw both get expended right before that last team fight. However, it is a nice 4v3 right now in favor of Bodega Hive. Huge Cataclysm coming out from the support of Vibe Tribe, and it looks like the Geb is getting forced right back in. Midgod ends up securing the first kill of this fight onto Izakor, and Jungle Jimmy finds Miss Curly Fry, 2 members down now for the Vibe Tribe. That Whirlpool coming out, locking Bastet in place, and Jungle Jimmy gets himself a double kill, knocking down the jungler of the Vibe Tribe. It's ISO ends up getting sent to the gray screen. Beacon goes down, and it's going to go the way of Bodega Hive. No sweat, no problem, and now they make their way onto the Pyromancer. Oh, please take it. No, don't. Take the beacon.
all that fighting for the beacon fight and don't pick it up. It's quite upsetting. But great recognition from Bodega Hive, knowing that the Cernanos isn't there, just pushing down the tower. You're in a 5v4 situation. And the Ganesha did not know that the Chalk was right behind them.
Well, Izakor's back and dropped another storm call on the face of the Bodega Hive. And unfortunately, it looks like the beacon's going to go the way of Vibe Tribe now. So why did they all walk away? I don't know, but they got the Pyromancer at least and ended up losing their mid laner.
Yeah, I was saying about that whole fight, like great recognition, all of the Cernos not being there and all, but unfortunate that the Ganesha didn't recognize that the Chalk was right behind him on top of his mid laner.
Well, not only does Izakor have CDR in his pocket up the wazoo, he's also got that persistent TP, which, you know, when he's getting kills, it's going to be decreasing that timer on the teleport. Not to mention, it naturally gets decreased timers. What is it? Oh, God, you're going to make me... I'm not going to say it off the top of my head because I'm going to get it wrong when I do that.
Reduces cooldown by 10 seconds, 110 seconds.
Yes. Every time they get a kill or an assist, it'll reduce it by 10 seconds. However, it's, yes, 70 seconds decreased. Are you kidding me? Good lord. 70 seconds decreased on just the base alone. That is insane. Throw out a freaking relic dagger on top of it, and you're going to have that thing up every 20 seconds.
Yeah. And, you know, Chalk could just dish out damage like how we saw in that whole encounter. Being able to sustain with the rain.
Good lord.
I'm a big Chalk fan. I love Chalk. I sadly did not get to play it once in my season.
Nice little attempt over here in the dual lane as the Gold Fury is up and ready. 4 members from Bodega Hive are floating around in the area, wanting to maintain and hopefully extend this 3k lead that they're holding on to right now. Bodega Hive making their... Vibe Tribe making their way on over. It looks like Oracle's going the way of Bodega Hive is going to give them some vision on that pit and prevent Vibe Tribe from pulling any sneaky plays, although they had Oracles in the last time. Vibe Tribe came in, got what they thought would have been their win condition in the previous fight, went to pick it up for the Gold Fury, but ended up still losing it to Bodega Hive. So hopefully we don't see a repeat of that if you're a Vibe Tribe fan, and if you're a Bodega fan, well, hopefully they end up just picking that one up as we see them making their way onto it right now.
Yeah, with the shred of the Izanami, the Robin could be able to tank that with no problem. See Nike TPing in there.
It looks like the Gold Fury does get dropped. You don't have your Poseidon here for that secure or damage. Huntress Abbas does catch Midgod, forces the beads of the Izanami, and it looks like teams are gonna kind of back off and do a little physical reset, a mental reset. Tier 1 tower ends up falling in mid.
And if I am that Chalk, I am going to be looking into trying to get that Izanami, knowing that she doesn't have the beads. You could be on top of her with the rain to stop any sort of auto attack due to the slow.
Get that critter dropping those Tycho drums, hoping to get some damage off onto Ben Dizzle. Now the Gold Fury are getting pulled by the Vibe Tribe, and they are none the wiser to know that Bodega Hive is pulling the Fire Giant. Gold Fury ends up going down, going the way of the Vibe Tribe, but this Fire Giant's already down to 25%, and nobody's nearby from the Vibe Tribe. Bodega Hive ends up securing a 23-minute Fire Giant. Unbelievable. This is what I was saying earlier, way back during picks and bans. You need to have vision, because otherwise Bodega Hive will make plays like that with this team comp.
Yeah. You know, you have the shred off of the Izanami. You have the shred off of the Poseidon being able to just drop down a Kraken. The Ganesha pillars helps out with that as well. Yep, it is a unfortunate play for Vibe Tribe not having a single ward in the fire pit.
Well, in Vibe Tribe said it was okay. The current objective is Gold Fury. Nobody does Fire Giant until it's what, 35 minutes? Come on, nobody's gonna be going that way. A really great call from Bodega Hive. Kraken comes out, and Scooby Daddy Doo ends up dropping. Get that critter, zero hesitation. The Poseidon does end up using the beads, but I'm sure he's a little bit happy right now.
You saw how much damage that did and just completely erased him, deleted him off the face of the earth with that Kraken.
If he didn't do, well, we'll hold that one as we see the blink root from the Raven forcing the beads from this Cernunos. Yeah, if that was the first ability that the Poseidon ended up dealing, he's got that Obshard passive on top of it, dealing that increased percent of penetration. He's just going to be blowing up whoever he hits. The root on the Cernunos end up trapping him right on top of those Dharmic pillars from the Ganesha. And now it looks like Geb's in a little bit of a difficult position, ends up dropping the Cataclysm, and it looks like Bodega Hive wants this tier 1 tower in the mid lane, and Blink coming out from the Chalk, dropping that Storm Call on top of the members of Bodega Hive. Yet again, we're going to be seeing that one all game. No doubt about it. But it looks like the rest of the members get pushed off by Ben Dizzle. This Nike, I tell you. I'm just going to jump on top of you, knock you up, and then I'm going to disarm you with that lovely ability. And then I'm going to push you away, and then I'm going to slow you with my ultimate. And I'm going to tank every little possible bit of damage that I possibly can because I have a double the health shield.
Yep, that Nike is just a menace to play against. And if you have it in your team, you know you're pretty safe. Just letting the Nike do whatever she wants, because you know she can get out just because of her ult and the jump.
Ultra Sabas were a little bit off the mark, and there goes Midgod's ultimate from this Izanami, and there's the Dharmic Pillars again on a Kraken on this Bastet. Right now, Taiko drums get dropped as well. Ultimates are flying left and right, and the Chalk is on the back line of the Bodega Hive yet again. But he ends up falling to Scooby Daddy Doo. Titans now clashing in the middle lane, and there comes the Raven ultimate over the top. Ben Dizzle ends up securing the kill over onto Dip Spit, though. And now the Geb and Raijin are making their way on out, trying their best to run away. It's ISO made his way back to base during that entire time, and this Titan is very healthy. But what's more important, so are the members of Bodega Hive, along with Fire Giant, around the belts of 5 members right now, marching down this mid lane, and 30 seconds on the nearest timer for a single member of Vibe Tribe right now. I'm spelling danger for this Phoenix.
Very much. I mean, you have what, a half health Titan just marching down. And if they are able to just kind of target the Phoenix, this is going to down quickly. You see right there.
Phoenix in the mid lane ends up dropping, and it looks like his Raven is wanting more, unable to find the kill over on a Miss Curly Fry. Gonna get on out of there, no problem. But the Titans are now clashing in the fountain for the Vibe Tribe. A huge push from Bodega Hive ends up cracking the base of the Vibe Tribe, and now they make their way on over to the Gold Fury.
Yep, whoever is the shot caller for Bodega Hive is a better man than me. I would have just completely told my team to just get in there and try to finish the game with the Titan. But shout out to them recognizing that the team is coming back up to be able to defend.
Oh, absolutely. You got to be looking at those death timers constantly, understanding, okay, 30 seconds when the Phoenix went down, about 15, 20 seconds passed after that, we have 2 tier 2 towers still up. That alone is enough to deter me from wanting to push into end the game. It's kind of a very steep call after we dumped all of our ultimates and relics and everything. But yeah, like you said, Bodega Hive making a really great call to just, okay, let's back off. We'll get the Primal Fury. Now we'll deal increased damage to jungle camps and bosses and whatever we feel like. Go and set up for this Fire Giant as we see it spawn right now at the 28-minute mark. And look at the members of Bodega Hive already over here getting some nice zoning going out as we see Jungle Jimmy up here on the back camps of the Vibe Tribe, applying some poke, getting some deep vision up right now, and the Fire Giant is picked up, but it gets leashed immediately.
Yeah, just Jungle Jimmy just been an absolute melon. It's being able to get into your backline and as well just on top of that Bastet. See how much damage he done to that Bastet.
Man, where did the HP go of its ISO? Speaking of where did the HP go, it looks like Sir Nunos is in a very difficult position. Beads forced by this, Beads forced on this Sir Nunos, and it looks like Robin's on the back line now. Use that Mystic Rush, and a huge Kraken ends up finding a kill. Scooby Daddy Doo ends up picking up Miss Curly Fry. Dip Spit falls as well. 2 members down now for the Vibe Tribe, and Bodega Hive make their way on back to the Fire Giant. This Nike and Robin are both on the back line, though, still trying to chase out the remaining 3 members of the Vibe Tribe. All the while, the Fire Giant's health is dwindling. 29 minutes still. Basic FG, it's going to go down quick, and so it does. Bodega Hive ends up picking up their second Fire Giant, but get that critter ends up finding Ben Dizzle. Just lurked a little bit too deep, too long in the back line of the Vibe Tribe.
I mean, you lose 1 for off of that Fire Giant buff, but being able to just keep out the team is, an accomplishment on its own. Yeah, you don't want to be losing another character with that Fire Giant buff, but it's just a good play from Ben Dizzle to be able to keep them out.
Izanami trying to shed that down, does shred that down before the teleport comes out from Izakor. Now the members of the Bodega Hive are going to make their way on back to base, spend some of this golden pocket. Please stop somebody's back. Thank you, minions. Thank you, minions, for doing that. Make their way on back to base. Bodega Hive is going to spend some of this golden pocket to, as we say all the time, this is where that gold lead shows. We're going to sell our recipes, get that 6th item online, upgrade starter items. This is the huge moment.
Yeah, and we see full builds coming in. Poseidon being able to finish his build, the Robin finishing his build. See the Izanami close to just a few more gold to be able to finish off her build as well. So we do see that over, the Vibe Tribes, who still has their recipes on their builds.
Do you think Dip Spit's in danger here?
Most likely.
Oh no, a little bit unfortunate spacing from the members of Bodega Hive. It looks like he's going to get on out of there, no problem. I was worried. I was worried for more than a single second. For a while, I'm watching this Robin and Nike just circle around the back of him. If Vibe Tribe is not paying attention, that middle Phoenix is going to go down all on its own as they try to defend this Gold Fury.
Yeah, I believe it just send someone over like how they did right now. Hopefully he could clear that before the Dominions do kill that Phoenix, which he does.
Dipspit ends up doing that. Unfortunate. It looks like 2 members are not here. Kraken comes out on a leashed Gold Fury, getting absolutely nothing. Miss Curly Fry ends up finding Scooby Daddy Doo, but you can't pick up that Gold Fury. Ben Dizzle ends up finding its ISO, sending him to the gray screen yet again. A little bit low on the HP department when you're trying to leash a Gold Fury. Very unfortunate. Gold Fury goes down for the Bodega Hive, and now the chase is on, seeing what they can clean up. See if they can pick off a couple more members of the Vibe Tribe, as we see the Cernunos kind of locked in. Maybe the Geb's locked in right now, this duo lane. It looks like Geb is absolutely getting shredded down right now. Miss Curly Fry is trying to peel for their ADC, unable to do so and unable to get themselves out as well. Mid God picks up 2 right now over here in the middle lane.
Unfortunate for the Robin, almost getting that Raijin with the root. Well, we still get some anyways. But he would have probably gotten him killed earlier. And as well as when the Raijin was ulting, we see the Ganesh on top of him. The Raijin did not try to, fear him out or anything. He was just throwing out, the damage version of his ult, which I do kind of does seem kind of interesting. You would think if somebody's right on top of you, you just try to push him away, and with the Raijin ult, you could, relatively do that with the fear off that ult.
All 3 Phoenixes down for the Vibe Tribe, and that Titan health is dwindling. But it looks like Bodega Hive, not wanting to jump in there and end it just yet, are going to make their way on back and set up for the next Fire Giant. Now, this is Enhanced Fire Giant. It's going to be harder to take. 3 Phoenixes down. Hopefully, if you're a Vibe Tribe player, if you're a Vibe Tribe fan, they push out these waves far enough to be able to just get in here and contest this, because they will not have another chance right now. And honestly, if I'm Bodega Hive, I'm just jumping into that Titan room as 5. Look how low it is. Do you even chance it with another Fire Giant push?
It's tough to say, but yeah, you're like you said, you just want to push those waves down, not have any fire, any Winions at this point coming into it. Maybe you send out someone like the Chalk to be able to, get in, probably get out. Jesus.
ISO came over trying to see if they could get a little bit of something, but ends up getting a little bit of a +1 under their death count.
And now you have the enhanced fire giant on Bodega Hive. It is going to be quite difficult just to be able to defend this push, especially how the Robin's been playing. The Nike just doing whatever she wants, not being able to peel them off of your team.
2 members end up falling though, but oh well. So does the Titan for the Vibe Tribe. Game number 1 goes the way of Bodega Hive.
That was a great game. Somewhat even in the early game, but just the objective steals and the objective secures off Bodega Hive was able to, push that lead for them, getting that lead over, getting the gold advantage, XP advantage, and then yeah, we see in the late game just being able to shred the team with just the overall teamwork with that team, being able to get in there, heal with the Ganesha, and just aiming at one target at a time. It was just a great game from Bodega Hive.
Early, I was getting a little bit worried. I'm going to be entirely honest. Bodega Hive was not getting any vision up. And even going into the mid to late game, I was not seeing any wards getting placed in key spots. What they did have going for them was their calls, their shot calling, their ability to just play the map and recognize certain situations and respond to those situations. That's what really helped them, in my opinion. The Gold Fear Steel, extremely lucky. We'll give them that one. It was really lucky. They got away with it. Vibe Tribe, that's a call on their front. Not making sure that they have the proper zoning, not making sure they understand where every single member is with what abilities they still have remaining, as we saw the Ganesha and Robin both sitting in the area, both very healthy, dropping their ultimates and taking that away. Cool. So that's a call thing on the fact of Vibe Tribe. The thing that I want to see from Vibe Tribe, as we saw a lot of vision getting placed up from them, I want to see a more concise team comp. Now, not to say that this team comp that they drafted here lacks any sort of cohesion, but if you're going to be responding to this very aggressive late game style build that Bodega Hive is doing, maybe something that just synergizes a little bit more and allows for different paths, I want to say, for and starting team fights or controlling team fights. I think that's a big thing that Vibe Tribe needs to look at, but we will be finding that out going into Picks and Bans game number 2 very shortly. Bodega Hive is leading the semifinal set right now, 1-0. We'll be back momentarily with Picks and Bans for game 2. Game number 2 right now for this semifinals matchup between Vibe Tribe and Bodega Hive. And Vibe Tribe, right now they got an uphill battle if they want to make it to finals next week against Calder's Good Boys. Bodega Hive is leading the set 1-0 right now, and we've seen a little bit of a change up here in these bans as that Robin gets removed. I guess Vibe Tribe didn't want to see it, didn't want to play it.
All power to them. If I'm them, I wouldn't have wanted to see that over onto Jungle Jimmy, just the way he played it. Played it extremely well, being able to get in there, drop quite a chunk of damage, and just being able to get out.
Okay. Can we talk about the tier first pick?
It's
I'm going to
based.
be honest. This one threw me off. I don't know what to say because, as you can see over on the other side, you let Ganesha through yet again. Okay, we talked in the previous picks and bans how this is one of the strongest support picks you can possibly play, and into a tier nonetheless is going to struggle against that pick. You also let Danzaburo, which is a good flavor pick that we have here in this league. A god who can taunt you, who has that rocket to get in or get out, whether you so is pleased, can just get up and leave. A lot of just utility in this god's kit and a lot of potential with it. Izanami getting hovered over on the side of the Vibe tribe. I'm still just looking at this tier, man. Do you have an explanation?
Comfort at this point. You know, play what you're good at. I mean, I guess, tier could be a very lane bully ish type of character, being able to just fearless you out. He has just to stay with the what is it, his two. Um yeah, I'm just saying it's overall comfort. Um, this is could be your the last game of the season. Might as well just end it off with a bang.
Good change up over in the dual lane, though, as we see Sylvanas and Izanami getting locked in. A lot of clear potential with these two picks. Honestly, throw a mannequins on this Sylvanas. I want to see it. I want to see this lane get shredded down. Absolutely, and just have them hyper clear, run it down, get a quick first buff invade off. Bastet getting hovered over on the other side of Bodega Hive. And we know this is a good comfort pick as well for Jungle X Jimmy. They do end up locking that in, and we got our top three for both sides getting really locked in here. So far in this top three, good clear over for Vibe Tribe over in the dual lane. The tier first pick, okay, cool. If it's comfort, comes off a little bit of a surprise to be the first pick. I'm interested to see what they do with it. Bodega Hive, this dual lane, though, a lot of just kind of like lockdown, blow them up, safety. This is going to be an interesting one, to say the least.
Yeah. And like you said, I do want to see the Sylvanas go with the mannequins. Who needs benevolence on the Sylvanas? Who needs a tank when you could just shred people, right?
Look, I'm here to win, and the best way to win is by getting in the heads of my opponents and doing things that they won't expect. And the mannequin Sylvanas with the Izanami dual lane, I see that as we're just going to murk our entire jungle, destroy every single lane wave that comes up in, like, I just see a lot of potential there. I want to see it so bad. I'm fingers crossed right now. Second phase bans, we see the Poseidon getting removed. We don't want to see that one again. And Scylla, again, getting knocked off. Another, just good scaling mage. Over on the opposite end, we see the Baba Yaga get banned. However, the Bakasura gets removed. This one's a little bit interesting, in my opinion.
It is quite interesting if you look at it as in like quote unquote meta wise, but its ISO is pretty much known of being a Baka main. So banning that god off of his somewhat rotation or his jungle pick is a good target ban, would say nonetheless.
Yeah, but I guess if you're locking in a Wheelix, then you don't need the Bakasura. Thor is the final pick over for the Bodega Hive as well. And okay, Thor solo, Thor jungle. Yeah, Thor solo. We'll say Thor solo. Yeah. And then over on the opposite end, the Wheelix, I'm going to counter the Bastet. Not to mention, I got a lot of team cohesion potential here. I got a Sylvanas, I got a Jingwei, I got a Tyr, all these characters who can knock up. Now we just need to execute.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, even Giannis could knock himself up if he stand in his portal. So you could also count that in as well as a knockup. The Bastet does have her leap. So I am liking this a Wheelix pick. And then you have the knockup with the Jingwei, the Tier, and the Sylvanas. So I'm pretty excited to see if Vibe Tribe can play as a unit and get those um, picks off with the Wilix ult. Just Ganesha, hopefully we get to see how he played like last game and just being able to shut out anybody who's on top of you, on top of his back line.
Okay, but I'm doubling down now on the Sylvanas mannequins. Okay, and here's why. I see 4 physical members over on the side of Vibe Tribe, a double ADC comp right now, a lot of objective shred potential, even outside of the ADC, having that Wheelix to just be able to pop ultimate and shred an objective down. Great. Now give me some Sylvanas spicy damage, okay? This is what I want. I'm doubling down, I'm tripling down on it right now. I want to see it.
Got to make the playoff games interesting. So hopefully Curly Miss Curly does go with the mannequins. Being the only mage or magical type damage in the team.
We're going to move on into a quick little intermission, though. We will be back with game number 2 momentarily.
Do like the early wards. But normally you see it on the wards on the support. So it's kind of interesting that the Izanami picked it up as well.
Yeah, the fact that they both have 2 wards. So we'll see if it affects the Izanami getting that Devos online, if they'll be just perfectly fine because it's still 50 gold. I'm spending that gold maybe somewhere else, maybe on monopots or mixed pots. Probably won't see too much of an issue on that front. Nothing too crazy over in our item pickups. Everybody's very, very standard right now. I do see a conduit gem over on our Janus, which is a little bit interesting because we generally see people lean towards that Sansa time.
Yeah, to be able to pick up off of the alternate timeline. Pick up final starter item just because having a second life is pretty strong. But I do believe that Giannis could utilize that conduit gem better than some other mages.
Oh, without a doubt, anybody could utilize a conduit gem real nicely. Izanami just shredding down that sake pot from the Danzaburui. I think you should be focusing on clearing the wave, buddy. Honestly, I don't think you're going to be getting her anytime soon. Janice using that portal for damage, seeing if he could get some nice poke off, and he did get some very good poke off onto this Jingwei right away, forcing this ADC to utilize some of those pots. Not going to be able to get the kind of damage that they want early from a mid lane hunter. There is a bluestone tier over in the solo lane I find interesting against a Thor.
Do you think just the bluestone would just help clear out the minions better than if he would have went Warrior's Axe? So it is an interesting pick, but just being able to clear lane minions, I mean, I think is the priority for this tier.
Oh yeah, not only are you going to be clearing, but if you do end up landing that Fearless on top of your opponent, on top of that Thor, he's going to be taking quite a significant amount of damage, forced to use pots, forced to back early, or just forced to send him back to the gray screen. Junglix Jimmy making his way on through the jungle of the Vibe Tribe, trying to get another early gank off over here in the solo lane, maybe steal another blue buff like he did in game number 1. Now just looking for a little bit of poke. Although the unfortunate part is very low on mana. This Bastet is a mana-hungry menace, and if you are just fighting constantly, no matter what starter item you pick up, you're going to be in a little bit of an issue.
Yeah, very much so. But luckily for the Bastet, Jingwei wasn't there to kind of punish that for being, low on mana, being able to push her down. The Izanami the dual lane in Vibe Tribe just takes down the Bastions very quickly.
Takes down the
We get
bastions, but also taking down that tower HP. Tier 1 tower already down to 50% at 3 minutes right now. I think Bodega Hive is really feeling what this dual lane of the Vibe Tribe can do. I want to see a gank attempt come out very soon. However, obviously, still 2 wards in the pocket of the Izanami. They can get these wards down, which is exactly what they are doing. It's going to be difficult.
very much so. I mean, just having constant vision in the jungle, knowing if somebody is coming, Zanami could just easily get out. And shout out to the pillars being able to to just delay the Izanami to picking up that shield.
Darth Dumbledore flexing on everybody on the map, saying, okay, you know what? Flexing on his dual lane opponents and everybody over here saying, yeah, I was the first one to hit level 5. Let me show you I have an ultimate. So,
Yeah, but I mean, Ganesha could do that. I mean, he has very low cooldown on his abilities, so might as well just let them fly.
Fly and Jingwei very low on mana, very low on health right now against a Janus. Honestly, one ability combination could send you to the gray screen and get first blood for Bodega Hive, but she makes it way on out. Speaking of low mana, Tyr right now has the blue stone, which gives a little bit of mana sustain. How do solo laners who get a blue buff always end up low on mana? What is this?
No, we just wanted, want our abilities, to fly. Send them out on cooldown. I mean, I've had that problem every time I played. And then some abilities just are high mana costing.
Huntress of Bass ends up connecting onto Izakor, and Jungle X Jimmy ends up securing first blood for Bodega Hive here in game number 2.
That was, sadly, we didn't get to see that snipe off of that Bastet.
A 4-man gank over here in the dual lane, though, and Darth Dumbledore is finding himself a little bit low in the mana department. Now in the health department, gets sent to the gray screen. Dipspit for Lube ends up picking up that kill. First kill over here for this ADC of the Vibe Tribe. They end up securing the shield buff as well, and they expended that. Oh, quite a few ultimates, actually, over here. It was a big rotation from the Vibe Tribe.
Yeah, quite a big rotation. You got the Jingwei ult. Yeah, Jingwei ult down. Izanami's ult down. Bastet ult, Willig's ult down. While you got off of Bodega Hive is with Janus ult. The pillars. So we have Sylvanas still with the ult up.
You know what's not up though? The tier 1 tower in the dual lane. 3 minutes it took you to get 50% of its HP down, and another 3 minutes sending it down to nothing. 6 minutes for the first tier 1 tower getting taken over in the dual lane, which is exactly what you'd expect from a Sylvanas Izanami dual lane. Not surprised. Oh, you're a little bit trapped right now, Izakor, over here, though. It looks like we have a counter gank attempt coming in as its ISO does make his way on in. Tyr ends up going up. Tyr ends up coming down on top of this Bastet, and she is low in mana. Gravity surges out from the Awilix, ends up securing that kill. Its ISO finds Jungle X Jimmy.
I think it's just a misplay on Jungle Jimmy just being on that solo lane for quite a long time. You got the kill on the Tyr. Props to you, but why stay even longer in that solo lane? You're just kind of taking lane XP off of your solo lane on that Thor. It was just a great rotation from its ISO to be able to get that kill off of them.
Looks like this Thor is struggling a little bit over in the lane, although he does have the XP lead. It's kind of just always, every time we look at this Thor, he doesn't have any mana at all. I don't know what it is, but Ben Dizzle just no mana. You got a blue buff, but you're struggling over there. Well, you're on the, like we said though, he's winning in the XP department in the lane. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, if you're higher in XP, is easier to box into someone if they're lower than you, like how the Thor is now. But unfortunately, tier is just very low on mana.
It's ISO jumping into the purple buff and getting a nice successful invade on the duo lane over there for Bodega Hive. Look at the ward wall over in the duo lane jungle, duo side jungle right now. You have one at the top of the gold pit, one over near your green buff. You have one over by the purple buff entrance into duo lane. Just get a few more up, maybe spread them out a little bit. Try to really lock it down, because right now if somebody hugs the green buff wall a little bit too tight, you're never going to see them. Just spread them out, make it look real nice and fancy.
Yeah, very much. Put a ward in the enemy's speed buff.
I almost said
While you're
fountain. I
at
heard
it.
an F sound, and the only F sound in the
it
game is fountain.
was gonna say fountain. But yeah, you know what? Might as well put one in the fountain just to see who's there.
Yeah, when they spawn in, I just gotta know them. The only F sound is fountain.
Fire.
In the enemy's fire.
Enemy's fire.
Yeah.
Jungle side. Yeah, no, I can't save myself from that.
Yeah. You're getting a little bit
love.
poked out now in a 3-man rotation from the Vibe Tribe. It looks like Ben Dizzle might be walking into a trap, forced into the ultimate. Anvil of Dawn goes up in the air, and we're going to make our way back over to the tower, right? Right. There we go. Lands on top of his minions, and I'm not going to curse it because I say something and they do the exact opposite. Good recognition, though, from Bodega Hive. If they're going to 3-man rotate over to the solo lane, what are we going to do? We're going to take the Gold Fury, or at least make the attempt, as we did see some steals. Hunter the Bass ends up locking down the Izanami, forcing the beads off of the carry of the Vibe Tribe. Bodega Hive ends up securing the Gold Fury. Izanami getting a dash away and just trying to play her life right now. Danzaburo Rocket ends up locking on a Jing Wei. I love just seeing that get sent out.
And just hit someone. Oh, Yana's beads.
Just worried about the follow-up from the Vibe Tribe. Like, okay, you know what? Where could they be coming from? I don't know. I know at least 2 members are in the area with the Izanami and the Jing Wei. And the Wheelix could be anywhere. So, I guess.
Yeah. Also, the Jing Wei was in mid lane for quite a bit when Bodega was taking the gold Fury. I would have loved to see some sort of earlier rotation being able to try to even contest that. You're just sending out the Izanami only to contest while she's getting jumped on by the Bastet, getting ulted by the Bastet. I would have loved a rotation from that Jingwei to kind of put quite a bit more pressure in that Gold Fury.
It's just unfortunate that the majority of the members of the Vibe Tribe are over by the solo lane trying to get a ganker tapped off on a Thor, nonetheless, who can just kind of ult away. So, Gold Fury does go down the way of Vibe Tribe. Let's see if they can rekindle their kind of pressure that they were building over in the dual lane side with this beacon that's going to be spawning in about 5 seconds at this point. They do have a nice grouping right here. None of the members are really nearby from Bodega Hive.
I always love watching beacon fights, just because the beacon is kind of like a weird position where, anyone could win the fight at any moment.
That was a very exciting beacon fight.
Yep. Just took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah. Intense battle between the members of both of these teams. It was close, though. It came real close in the end.
Oh, yep. So close, just probably an enemy stepping in to the beacon. But I'm pretty sure there's going to be a fight in around the last beacon that sends out the Titans. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a fight. If not, I would be pretty upset.
Well, the last time we had the last beacon fight in the previous game, it was immediately after Bodega Hive took the first Fire Giant. Vibe Tribe decided, okay, well, here comes an ultimate. Mid God. We're looking for something there. We're shooting for the skies. But
Clearing lane.
yeah,
It's to clear lane faster.
but it was immediately after Bodega Hive took the first Fire Giant, and in game number one when we looked at it, Bodega Hive stole the first Gold Fury. Unfortunate, but game still even. Oh, I'm going to hold that thought real quick to see what happens over here right now, because we do have a level 14 Izanami and a level 11 Danzaburo. Trying to get the steal over on this objective does not end up getting it. Danzaburo going to walk away with it buff. But yeah, game number one, you lose the Gold Fury, whatever, game's still even. You trade out the Fire Giant. Can I talk? Oh, I want my story time. Thank you. Scooby Daddy Doo ends up finding Isakor over here. Good rotation from the mid lane of the Bodega Hive. Okay, I'm going to talk about it now. You end up trading the Gold Fury, the second Gold Fury, for the Fire Giant. A little bit unfortunate, but you're still very close in this game. The part where it really went downhill was when the Vibe Tribe tried to take the fight for the beacon. Fighting into 5 members of Bodega Hive, all very healthy, all with the Fire Giant buff around them. That's kind of where I think the game just started heading in the wrong direction for them.
Yeah, very much so. I was thinking of something, but the kills earlier just completely made me forget. Oh, level disparity. The Izanami's 3 levels ahead of this Danza. While whole team XP wise is just pretty much even. But I would like to see it, slight more pressure on the Izanami from Bodega Hive, as we might see that.
Looks like Jungle Licks Jimmy wanted to make a gank 8 times, but unfortunately, Dipspit got the back off in time. No sweat there. Yeah, I do agree this Izanami needs to play super far up, but I think the problem is Midgod is clearing the wave and allowing it to get sent all the way back down over to Dipspit every single time, which means the Izanami is just going to clear it and go around and take the neutral farm and come and pressure your purple buff. You're just allowing this Izanami pick to do whatever she wants, and that's the unfortunate part right now. I feel like if you held that wave back at all during the early game, you lost your tower in 6 minutes. What have you got to lose by just holding the wave all the way back by your tower line? Where's she going to go? Steal farm from her mid lane, her jungle, early game?
So it is that sort of lane to where the fight is going on. You see?
Well, Tyr has Manticore spikes. So that's a thing that I haven't seen since the start of the season.
More damage at this point.
You see, but the problem is he doesn't get them because they spawn behind him. So do you see what I see right now? As you're fearlessing somebody and the spikes are just kind of trailing you. I guess if anybody's chasing your fight, they can pick them up and lock down on anybody whoever is fearless. Gold Fury gets picked up by Vibe Tribe, getting down extremely low, and there comes the Janus ult that through space and time does not end up getting it. Vibe Tribe secures that Gold Fury, no sweat, no problem. However, the members of Bodega Hive are still in the area and very healthy, collapsing now on the members of Vibe Tribe. It looks like the dual lane might be in a difficult position just sitting up here. But man, nonetheless, the Anvil of Dawn goes up in the air looking for a member, ends up landing down onto 2 members right now, and it looks like Ben Dizzle's going to pick up the first kill on a Miss Curly Fry. Now Tyr in a difficult position. It looks like Izakor's going to use that ultimate defensively, trying to get away, but Bodega Hive is chasing down. Oh, just off the mark. Blink comes out from Tyr and just gets himself away. Now Bodega Hive falls back, and I'm not going to say goes for the beacon. They're going to go for the Pyromancer. Last time I said that they went for the beacon, they absolutely denied me that satisfaction.
Maybe the Jingwei could seal it.
Vibe
And she
Tribe
does.
steals the Pyromancer. All right, 2 objectives now going the way of the Vibe Tribe. Jingwei now in a very, very troubling position. Just doing her best to get away. Does not. Ends up getting sent to the gray screen. Expended both of the relics too, and that's what I see as going to be difficult.
Yeah, Jingwei being, not having any sort of relics, she would have to rely on that ult to be able to escape. Being able to, have the CC immunity with her. Currently right now, how it is down, I will if I am Bodega Hive, I will, looking towards that, being able to kind of push her out, keep her out of the fights.
So true. Every time we look at Ben Dizzle, he's got no mana. And I'm really trying to figure this one out. Trying to put two and two together. It's because he's got 30% CDR with the Jotuns and the Glads. But he's got a blue buff. Blue buff solves all of your mana issues, right?
You would hope.
That's why solo laners always complain about it.
It has to give more MP5.
Gank attempt right now over on the solo lane. Tyr might be in a difficult position. Izakor uses the ult defensively trying to get away. The Thor hammer does come out for the follow-up, and the Huntress of Bass is just off the mark. Tyr getting away. Absolutely 1 HP. A jump in from the Bastet. A little bit off the mark, and they end up walking away from that one empty-handed. However, there are 3 other members of the Vibe tribe in the area, in the vicinity, seeing if they could get something locked down onto Bastet. Ends up using that Wrath of Terror, and the kill goes the way of its ISO.
That was a nice pull from that Sylvanas, being able to get that root out pull. Just to set up with the Naka, give that kill to the Awilix. I was gonna say, if you saw the Tyr was trying to backstep to be able to push someone into the to the tower as he would fearless them in.
Well, there's warrior brain and then there's Tyr brain, and Tyr brain kind of falls under that Hercules brain category where they do this weird thing where they're always just trying to get behind you so they could push you into tower, pull you and push you into tower. It's, guys, mix it up a little bit, do a little bit something interesting. We got the Ares walk where they kind of just walk straight down the lane trying to blink ult you. Okay, cool. All right, there's that one. So
yeah, just
spicy.
very telegraphed on what he was trying to do there. But all power to him, just trying to get that off.
He did his best. Doing his best, but he's 2 levels down to this Thor right now. Ben Dizzle might be out of mana, but, is building his lead slowly but surely.
Yeah, very much so.
He's got mana this time. One of the first few times. See, look, Manticore spikes are dropped. Fearless came out, beads from the Janus right now, and so did the ultimate from the Izanami. Dipspit dropped that Janus 1 HP right now. Scooby Daddy Doo just trying to get away, and we're locking 3 members into the Dharmic Pillars. Huntress Bass ends up getting on top of Get That Critter, forces the beads and the Aegis from the Jing Wei. Now 4 members kind of sitting here as our 5th ends up getting back to base. Bodega Hive trying to defend this tier 1 tower with all they have, down to 50% of its HP, and now we're jumping in. Sylvanas in a little bit of a situation. Double Taunt ends up luring him into the damage, and now the Anvil of Dawn goes up into the air. Who is he going to land on, though, is quite the question. Ends up dropping onto 2 right now, and the shell gets popped. Aegis from the Izanami as well. Members of Bodega Hive are trying to get on in, but it's this ISO who ends up getting the first pick of that one. Jungle X Jimmy ends up finding Miss Curly Fry, but it's ISO gets a double kill, finds Jungle X Jimmy as well. Scooby Daddy Doo ends up picking up Dipspit for Lube, and now it's a 2-for-2 into this team fight, and both teams just kind of staring at each other, a little bit half HP, or a little bit little healthy, not so much.
Good ults all around from everyone there. What I was gonna say was kind of interesting is that Phantom Shell on the Sylvanas. I'm guessing they're really respecting that Thor wall.
You can get the Dharmic Pillars too.
That's true, but do you really see? A Ganesha trapping you with the Dharmic, the one of the pillars in a lane or in a corridor? Very rarely.
That, and guess what's going to happen?
Yeah, just gonna see somebody get body blocked.
Oh yeah. What frustrated me though was there was this huge fight, 5v5 fight in the middle lane for nothing. Okay, Beacon wasn't up, Pyro wasn't up, tier 1 towers weren't even taken. Nothing came out of it, but 2 people died on each side.
It was an investment for the Beacon. And you know what? That was what I said earlier. I wanted to see a beacon fight. I think that's the closest I'm gonna get to a beacon fight for the last beacon to be able to send out the Titans.
Probably a
Mm,
little bit of damage coming out right now. Some poke war happening. A lock in onto the tier with the Dharmic Pillars, but he ends up ulting over the top and on to Scooby Daddy Doo. Making his way back to his team right now who are huddled around the Pyromancer, but it looks like Jing Wei's going to knock down that tier 1 tower in the middle lane. And now a little bit of a grouping, but they are unaware that Dipspit for Lube is sitting over in this dual lane, just shredding down the towers, and Titans are unleashed and marching down the mid lane.
They send the other ADC to stop that split push.
Handful of Dawn goes up and comes down, ends up securing that Pyromancer, stealing it away from Vibe Tribe, and Bendizzle also finds its ISO on the back side of that. Now Tyr in a very difficult position. Izakor is going to do his best to get away, doesn't have the ultimate available, gets locked in by that Thor wall and forcing his pathing towards the solo lane. Bendizzle gets himself a double kill in this team fight. Izanami now making the rotation on over to the mid lane, just trying to shred down these Titans as much as possible and hopefully save as much face as they could in this fight.
Yeah, and you have the kill lead. Gold is pretty much even. The tier is 3 levels down.
Oh,
That was close.
unfortunate. Force the beads and the ultimate from Get That Critter. I don't know if you can stay around here any much longer, though. Your tier 2 tower is going down. Now Thor making his way on in, trying to get a little bit more damage on to Get That Critter, but he's going to get away no problem. Tier 2 tower ends up falling, but the Vibe Tribe is pushing on into the Phoenix of Bodega Hive in the middle lane. Meanwhile, Bodega Hive is pushing on into the solo lane Phoenix with 4 members. Can 1 member defend over in the middle lane? Can 3 members defend over in the solo lane? It looks like that Phoenix is getting low. Phoenix going down, but so does Darth Dumbledore. 1 falls. Now 2 fall. Jungle X Jimmy falls as well. Anvil of Dawn comes down, forces the Aegis of the Jing Wei in the middle lane. Phoenix goes down as well for Bodega Hive, and the dual lane is going to walk on out.
Shout out for that call and being able to push down a Phoenix with your ADC and the Sylvanas. I mean, both could just pretty much shred the Phoenix. Unfortunate that the Donza couldn't really do anything about it.
And here's an
Let's see if
interesting one. The
pick
Fire
up.
Giant getting picked up from Vibe Tribe, but Janice is in the area. Scooby Daddy Doo is here, does not have the ultimate available. The Fire Giant down to 50% health, still basic FG, so it's going to go down very quickly. Now 2 more members making their way on in, but it's going to be too little too late. But Bodega Hive takes the Fire Giants away from Vibe Tribe.
Yeah, that pickup was a decent call, but you just can't let someone like a Giannis be up that close. You gotta keep him out of there. You know that his ult is down, but as we saw there, he could just take it with one of his. Yeah, the misplay. I would say I'm not against the call, but you just can't let anybody get up close to the Fire Giant like that.
That is just unfortunate. You got to get that spacing out and understand where the members. I feel like I'm kind of repeating myself from game number 1 right now. You're letting a member get up there. You're not really spacing. You're not getting that kind of zoning control and recognizing who's nearby. And Vibe Tribe's really paying for it right now. You know, you lost what? A Pyromancer to a Thor ult. You lost now a Fire Giant here in game number 2 as well to a Janice 2. Over in game number 1, you lost a Gold Fury to a Raven and Ganesha ult combination. Okay, let's take a step back. Let's breathe. Let's collect ourselves and let's just get the fundamentals down. You know, ward vision, check. Recognizing where members are, check. Who's zoning? Nobody? Somebody better be zoning. Okay, get up there. Go ahead, create some space for us and make sure that doesn't happen again.
Very much so. And yeah, I get that it's only the tier that was that could have tanked the fire, but zone is pretty much one of the most important things of getting an objective.
Now, 4 members Strong sitting over into this mid lane, just trying to get a little bit of poke off before maybe a possible pyromancer, it looks like. Jing Wei, though, is pushing down the dual lane, is seeing if they could sneak away a Phoenix from Bodega Hive and get another Phoenix down. They are going to march in there, but Bodega Hive ends up taking out that Pyromancer through space and time, does come out 5 members strong here in the mid lane. Jing Wei is just burning through that Phoenix HP. A second Phoenix ends up going down for Bodega Hive. Now, 2 Phoenixes down with these bases correct for both of these teams. Izanami gets that dash on out of there, forced to use the beads, finding a difficult position. That was a gravity surge from the Wheelix. It's ISO hoping to get a little bit of something, ends up getting a whole lot of nothing. And now Bodega Hive is just going to walk away from that one. Their middle Phoenix soon to respawn.
Yeah. With the double ADC, you could. It's a split pushing city all around. You could send the Jigway over. You could send the Izanami. Just to split push. So I am liking, the utility of that.
Beads out from the Sylvanas, but Huntress of Bass is just off the mark. Anvil of Dawn going up in the air, comes on down top, and Miss Curly Fry still ends up falling to Ben Dizzle. Had to expend a little bit more than they were hoping for, but now they're going to be pushing up right here in the mid lane. They don't have their ADC available to them as he's over trying to push the fire minions out over in the dual lane. They did resecure their middle Phoenix, which is great. Now it looks like Ben Dizzle, though, might be in a little bit of danger. Ace ISO ends up picking up that one. Another member ends up falling. The space of time comes out as well. And now over in the solo lane, Jungle Jimmy ends up taking that Phoenix. Am I correct in saying that? Please take it. Thank you. Jungle X Jimmy ends up taking that Phoenix. Yeah, every time. I feel like I'm just jinxing it. Every time I say, yeah, they took it. And no, they don't. Oh, we're blinking out of there as we're getting chased down by 3 members of the Vibe Tribe. Yeah, I just kind of jinx myself with these objectives, it seems. Oh, Tier Ultimate coming up. Tier Ultimate coming down. Gets that stun off. Fearless ends up getting on top of that Bastet, forcing the beads from Jungle X Jimmy. Still trying to jump away, but that gravity surge is good. It's ISO ends up finding Jungle X Jimmy. I guess all their chase down ended up paying off.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, Willix just getting on the what is it, a cat? Yeah, tiger.
Suku.
Just pretty Suku.
Yeah.
I didn't remember the name of the cat. But being able to get on that,
hey, we stand
pretty
Suku
speed.
here.
Sorry, I'm not a jungler. I don't know my jungle stuff.
What's important for me is the fact that you have dual lane Phoenix down, for Vibe Tribe anyway. You have dual lane Phoenix down. You got a member from Bodega Hive picked. And look what's spawning. The enhanced fire giant. Why aren't you there? That's the question that I need to be asking. You have this double ADC comp. You have a member picked. You have the dual lane pushing up right now. Get to the fire giant.
Yeah, very much so. I don't know why they're kind of hesitant on to getting this.
Probably because they had 3 objectives stolen from them already, but
yeah, pretty much so.
Dharmic Pillars comes out and is unable to lock anybody down for the Vibe Tribe. Now a little bit of a poke war going on, but the fire minions are pushing over into the dual lane and into the fountain room. Looks like Bodega Hive decided to send Scooby Daddy Doo back to take care of those, but as soon as they recognize that somebody's not here, I would say they would pick it up, but it looks like it's ISO's back in the fountain as well.
Yeah, with the Giannis going over, you kind of should be on it. That's like a form of being able to kind of steal or as well confirm a objective. But as we saw earlier, the Thor just stole their Pyromancer with his ult.
Tier goes up, Tier comes down, landing into the back line of the Bodega Hive, ends up getting silenced out of his Fearless and ends up falling. Midgods takes that one, just absolutely shredded the HP. All the while, Vibe Tribe was not on the Fire Giant buff, but we're trying to come up and help out the solo laner. Oh, that's going to be a hard one, but the Pyromancer does go down in favor of the Vibe Tribe.
One objective that didn't get stolen.
Right, and now you don't have your frontliner.
Yeah, at the cause of your tier. Not too sure in why, you're ulting in to pretty much the whole team there. I guess just to secure the Pyromancer. shout out to Isakor, but it is kind of a a head scratching play on why they would he would go for that.
Well, here's what's unfortunate. Now Bodega Hive has that dual lane Phoenix back up, very healthy. And, Ben Dissel's just over here. He's like, cool, I have teleport up. I can teleport across at any time. I'm just going to push this wave right on down. No harm, no foul right here. It's only a 4v4 over at the Fire Giant pit since Tears on the gray screen.
Tier was on the gray scheme.
He
But
can
yeah,
still teleport. We're good. We're
yeah,
fine.
he could teleport. He can get there rather quickly than any other than the Yanis. Um, but yeah, I like this call being able to split push. You do see a tier and the Jingwei coming in.
Well, he's getting responded to by two members, and unfortunately gets the blink out from Isakor a little bit off the mark, is unable to get the Fearless off. But that's two members over now by the duo lane. And it looks like Bodega Hives is also a little bit hesitant to pick up this Fire Giant, trying to get a little pick going off right now, just getting some poke onto Izanami. But the Huntress of Bass connects through space and time just off the mark, forces the beads though from Dipspit, and is going to make him go back to base. Now it looks like Miss Curly Fry is getting collapsed on. Force the beads on the Sylvanas. Bastet jumping on in, and there goes the Dharmic Pillars. Gets locked down, and Ben Dizzle ends up securing that one, but Tears on the back line just trying to get the Janus, and it looks like Isakor does end up sending Scooby Daddy Doo to the gray screen. Now Thor, a little bit of a trouble. Dipspit for Lube ends up finding that one, and the team fight all while going on here in mid, and Jingwei ends up getting that dual lane Phoenix yet again. Unfortunate, you're losing a 5v4 right now.
Yep. I see the Ganesha. You could have just thrown out the one on the Izanami. Most likely would have killed her. I always love seeing a Ganesha with the kill. Because she was rather low. She was just going down for the dash. And it does take quite a time to be able to cast that. Unfortunately, I don't get to see my Ganesha kill.
Two members down for Bodega Hive and one for Vibe Tribe, but it looks like that's not going to stop them from picking up the Fire Giant this time, as they are three members right here. Now four members, burning it down, getting it down to about 25% HP. The Janus is up, and the Janus ult is coming, and it looks like Vibe Tribe ends up securing themselves the enhanced Fire Giant.
Yep. There wasn't, super clean zoning out from the tier, but
Oh.
so close. That would have been nice if you would have just randomly found that Donza off the leaves.
It's even better for me that he just ulted into lane and missed everything. Don't worry. Beacon goes down for Vibe Tribe. Primal Fury goes down for Vibe Tribe as well. Cleaning up these objectives and trying to give themselves a little bit of a gold lead, now extending it up to 7k. You got, okay, dual lane Phoenix down. You got the EFG around 5 members. You're all very healthy. You're getting this gold lead going. Go to Pyromancer, cool. Make your way, clean up this solo lane tower. Nice. But let's get some base cracking going outside of split pushing.
Yeah, and trying to look at these builds to see what's going on with them. You see the two ADCs going for crit. Do you see the Ganesha going for a late spectral? Knowing that the Jingwei is most likely always going to go crit. Rarely you see the Jingwei going for penetration, a penetration build. I would have liked to see the spectral somewhat earlier.
Very difficult position right now as we see Tyr getting himself absolutely just obliterated right now. Scooby Daddy Doo ends up finding that one. Miss Curly Fry, though, finds Midgod ADC for solo laner over here, and the Phoenix does go down as well. Now the members of Vibe Tribe are backing away right now, clenching themselves.
Great defense. I mean, somewhat of a great defense, being able to, somewhat come out the with that fight positive, being able to take out a fire giant buff off of the member of the Vibe tribe. Um, Granted, it is a solo lane, but solo lane with a fire giant buff could do pretty marvelous things. Um, but all in all, just great quote unquote defense from Bodega Hive.
The unfortunate part is if you're trading a solo lane Phoenix for a dual lane Phoenix right now, it's probably going to be a little bit rough going into the next fire giant push, but hopefully, I'm going to say hopefully, Vibe Tribe decides to push up, get another push going right here. Looks like right now, get that critters over in the dual lane yet again, pushing up those fire waves and trying to send them into the Phoenix, and hopefully they can take another Phoenix over here, because you don't want to be going into the next fire giant with the dual lane Phoenix up and now the solo lane Phoenix down, because you can defend the solo lane Phoenix a lot easier, pushing up those waves while defending the fire giant, playing around the fire giant. No sweat, no problem here. This is good though that they are making a last stand attempt right now. Bendism gets the back off, and so all 5 members are back here in the base, seeing what they can get off. Tyralt goes up, Tyralt comes down. Danzaburo uses that Aegis, is gonna get himself away, but Dipspit ends up finding Scooby Daddy Doo very early into this fight, and the Phoenix goes down yet again. Now only 4 members remaining from Bodega Hive, and 4 members of the Vibe Tribe end up having that EFG still around their belt for another 10 seconds. They really got to get this last push going, and it looks like they are going to get that last Phoenix down. All 3 Phoenixes down. Back yourselves on up and go take your prize of getting the next enhanced fire giant.
That Phoenix went down really quickly, and we'd still see 2 bombs in Vibe Tribe's pocket. Didn't really use it at all, and I think they didn't really need it in that push because of having the double ADC with the fire giant buff. Just always kind of welcoming to see. Being able to have or output that much damage without using pyro bombs.
Oni Fury going down and going the way of the Vibe Tribe. So now you got fire minions pushing down every single lane. Now you have Oni fire minions pushing down every single lane. You're 5 seconds out from the enhanced fire giant respawning yet again. The unfortunate part is Bodega Hive has to make a stand here. They don't really have an option. If you want to keep yourselves in this game, I feel like this is going to be it. But what do? Send the Thor over to go and defend the dual lane while you simultaneously push mid and solo up? No matter how you look at it, it's going to be a very tough situation for Bodega Hive.
Very much so. I mean, you could keep the Giannis to defend, but that's a lot of damage just coming out from a character that is somewhat needed during, a fight. See the tier pushing out the Giannis.
No way! Bodega Hive steals that with a Thor hammer, and it looks like he does not make it out. Ben Dizzle ends up falling to get that critter, but the enhanced fire giant is around 4 members of Bodega Hive.
This has to come. This should show some sort of lesson to Vibe Tribe to zone. That's the second fire giant that's been stolen by a non-ultimate ability. But that seemed like they didn't need the fire giant buff.
Ultimate's getting dropped left and right. Izakor ends up finding Midgod. The Titan is still very healthy and getting healed back up as the members of the Vibe Tribe are moving in and out. Back to full HP now is the Titan, and it looks like they're going to be happy defending their base on this one. The solo lane Phoenix does end up falling yet again, but you still have 3 members remaining with enhanced fire giants. You're going to get that dual lane Phoenix up, then you're going to get that mid lane Phoenix right back up. I don't think Bodega Hive's in a difficult position anymore.
Not at all. You have EFG on the Bastet and the Giannis. Those 2 could just output so much damage. Now we have Titans coming out on going towards the dual lane.
So here's what I would do if I'm Bodega Hive. I would put my Thor and my Bastet and send them over to the dual lane side. Although it looks like the Vibe Tribe actually wants to make a full attempt over here. I was kind of expecting the Jingwei solo push yet again to happen, but Vibe Tribe just wants to go over here and gun it. They're going to be up against all 5 members of Bodega Hive, 3 of which are holding the Fire Giant.
Yeah, very much so. And as much as how last fight went, it was pretty much even.
Oh man, that is a
Man.
through space and time from Scooby Daddy Doo, hitting 2 members and sending its ISO right on back to Fountain. Extremely unfortunate. Well, there goes your push. That right there just made Vibe Tribe back off. What a hit.
That was a nasty snipe. From the Giannis from Scooby Daddy Doo. Completely shut down that push from Vibe Tribe. But as well, it just serves as a lesson to Vibe Tribe to, don't let anybody get close to you, Fire Giant, if you're trying to take it down.
Looks like a recognition that the Bastet is not here. Hopefully, the Vibe Tribe can collapse on the members of Bodega Hive right now as we see the Jingwei making her way on in from behind. However, there are still 2 members here with that enhanced Fire Giant around. The Blink Fearless does come out on top of the Danzaburo, and he does get the shell off from the Ganesha very nicely. That Titan ends up falling as well. And it looks like Bodega Hive is going to walk away. No harm, no foul right there. Titans are dead. No more push from the Vibe Tribe, but they are pushing up right here, which is very interesting right now.
Yeah,
I don't like this.
I don't like it either. I mean, we just saw what happened when you guys tried that. I would be very cautious about where this Giannis is, where anybody is at this point.
The fact that it's a 2v5 up here at the Phoenix line. Yeah, back on off. Go and get the Gold Fury. That's another Primal Fury going into the pocket of Vibe Tribe. Set up for the next Fire Giant. That's really all you can do right now. This game's returned to neutral.
Maybe get another Pyro Bomb in your pocket. And I do see that one of the Pyro Bombs was expended in one of those fights. But you get it back rather quickly.
No, Pyro Bombs are only for securing objectives, taking Phoenixes. And I think Vibe Tribe needs them for securing objectives. Honestly.
Very much so.
If I were to say one thing, they need it for Fire Giants, taking these Fire Giants, making sure they don't lose another one. Because it's at this point, now that Bodega Hive's evened everything out, they have all of their Phoenixes back up. If you lose this next Fire Giant, I think that's just an end call for Bodega Hive.
Very much so. I was complimenting the TR being able to zone out the Giannis and the Danza all the way towards the Phoenix line. But, the Sylvanas need to put some sort of effort on keeping that Thor out. Even if you have to use ult, just bend it. Don't let anybody stay up that close to you guys, to the team or to the Fire Giant when you're trying to take it down. Make it difficult for them to be able to steal it. Because if we saw there, they just threw an ability and there, all your hard work just gone in by a non-ultimate ability.
Team's just seeing who's going to make a little bit of a misstep right now. This is what I was kind of expecting to see, is get that critter going over to the dual lane, pushing up this lane, Phoenix. Bodega Hive should probably just collapse right now. I'm going to be entirely honest. I don't think you're in a position to be split pushing, because now Bodega Hive should recognize that it's a 5v4. They just saw the Jingwei over on the Phoenix line. Oh, it's unfortunate though. They're going to send Jungle X Jimmy over to defend.
Yeah, Jungle Jimmy did get poked out quite a bit from the Izanami and the Wheelix. So if it's someone that you're going to have to send back, might as well just send back someone who's, pretty low.
We're extremely poked out right now. Jungle's Jimmy ends up jumping on out, but so does Get That Critter, still healthy, able to heal up with that Devo's Gauntlet. And now the members of Bodega Hive are still fighting a 4v4 over here against Vibe Tribe over around this Fire Giant pit. Jungle X Jimmy trying to defend the solo lane, dual lane Phoenix as best as he can, and it looks like he's doing just that. Holding it out just long enough right now, but now here comes the collapse over onto the blue buff over here. And Aegis gets popped, and there goes the Dharmic Pillars. Dunsbrewer in a difficult position trying to make his way on out as he's getting ran down by the tier, but not as bad as its ISO is right now. And it looks like Darth Dumbledore doing his best to peel for his team. Going to end up walking away from this one. Enough of a poke, it looks like, from both of these.
Get a knock up over the wall. That was a good try.
Through space and time did end up coming out right now. Ooh, the Izanami's in a very troubling position. Still the 1v1 over on the duo lane side and a 4v4 over here by the Fire Giant pit.
The moment is currently 8-3v4.
They don't know that. They don't see the fact that the Wheelix got her back off and is all the way back in the fountain. It's okay.
Now they will if she clears that mid lane.
Absolutely, and it looks like, oh man, Izakor is just in a troubling position, but here comes the Danzarel kit. But unfortunately, the portal from the Janus ends up preventing him from getting stunned out. And now Dan's is in a difficult position. It looks like Midgod is trying to get away, but Miss Curly Fry ends up finding that one with a dot damage on that Sylvanas. Now you're down a member. And it looks like the ADC, or well, the mid lane from Vibe Tribe is still pushing the dual lane. Anvil of Dawn goes up in the air. The beads are expended by its ISO. Uses the blink as well. Anvil of Dawn ends up landing back safely. And then Jungle Jimmy is going to go and defend the dual lane Phoenix again.
As much as I find it somewhat entertaining on that, Get That Critter staying over in the that Phoenix down. Shout out to Vibe Tribe being able to, be able to keep a quite Yonazult down.
Yeah, through space and time ends up coming out. Oni Fury goes down as well. Bodega Hive needs to recognize that there is a member not here right now, and it's one of the ADCs, but unfortunately, the Enhanced Fire Giant's getting low. Vibe Tribe ends up securing that one, and the collapse is coming in right now. But it looks like Scooby Daddy Doo is extremely low, and Izakor ends up finding that one. The Janus ends up falling. Now both carries are dead for the next 10 seconds until Midgod ends up coming up. But Bodega Hive is making their way on out and just doing their best to defend now against all 5 members of Vibe Tribe with the Enhanced Fire Giant.
You see, we get to see the tier get on top of the Giannis, a fearless amount to not throw any type of ability, and you get to secure your Fire Giant that you're working so hard for.
Solo lane Phoenix ends up going down. Jungle X Jimmy trying to defend against the Oni waves now, along with the Jing Wei. Anvil of Dawn lands down on top of the Izanami and tier combination, but ends up having to hammer himself on out. Bendizzle unable to get really too much off over here. Now it looks like they're going to back off, heal up a little bit in the fountain, but the middle Phoenix falls as well. Now I said on the dual lane Phoenix, the Vibe Tribe is grouped up very heavily, making their way on in right now. You have Enhanced Fire Giant. There's no such thing as backdoor protections. That dual lane Phoenix ends up falling down as well, jumping on into the Titan room right now. It looks like that Titan's getting down to about half HP. Dip Spit for Lube ends up finding Jungle X Jimmy. Titan down to 50, Titan down to 40, 30, 20, 10, and nothing. And it looks like Vibe Tribe is taking this to a game number 3.
This is an exciting set, I would say. So, Vibe Tribe utilized that double ADC comp extremely well. Knowing that either your mid laner or your ADC could just split push, and we pretty much saw that Jingwei was split pushing, I think, throughout the whole end of that match. Then you have to take some notes here and there, with Vibe Tribe, and I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but you have to zone out, or you're gonna see what happened in game 1, and in this game, your objectives are gonna get stolen rather quickly.
It's really, yeah, as you're saying, you need to get proper zoning. You need to get your spacing down. You need to have that proper vision up to know where people are, know what's coming, know where. God, I just do your checks. Go down your checklist. Do we have what we need in order to pull this objective? Before we can even make that call, you need to be going down that checklist. But then if you look over on the other hand, Bodega Hive, you're taking these objectives away. First off, I don't think you should ever be in a position to have to steal every objective, but the fact that you are in a position to steal every objective, you are still stealing every objective, but it felt like they weren't doing anything with it. The one time where it felt like they could have done something and they just chose not to. They wanted to respond over to this Jingwei split push nonsense. Let her. You take the 5v4 fight over on the pit because they're trying to contest you guys while they don't have a member here. You have somebody who has teleport up to go and defend if need be. What are you worried about, and why are you going to send Jungle X Jimmy all the way over there? It's not like he can defend and then come back to this team fight.
Yeah, and if Get That Crater does, if the Jingwei does take down the Phoenix, there's no way that the Jingwei should be able to kill the Titan when you had two Phoenix up and your only Phoenix down is the dual lane. And if the Jingwei is split pushing, just push down on their team, try to get them killed. Get it to a situation where it's a 5v4, or a 5v1 or even a 3v1, and try to get that Jingwei back out.
We're going to find out what kind of adaptations get made over in game number 3. We'll be there with picks and bans for Bodega Hive versus Vibe Tribe. The final to figure out who's making it to finals. We'll be there shortly soon. Their pocket in game number 1 that helped them towards their first win. Izanami getting banned here, though, I find kind of interesting. What are your thoughts, Dave?
Just get... I think at this point, just try to get Dip Spit off on that god. He's been playing it pretty decent throughout this whole set. Try to reach deep in his pockets and see what he could play.
It's that Kukul Khan that's been getting banned, though. Is the first lock-in for Bodega Hive. And we talked about this in game number 1 a little bit. We brushed over it in game number 2 because whatever, we're not going to say the same thing, but lots of clear on this god. Okay, he's got some pretty good burst potential. If you go with the sneeze into a poly auto, you're just going to walk away and eat the entire tornado damage. The objective secure potential from this god is tremendous. Over on the side of Vibe Tribe, though, we see that Jingwei getting locked in again. It's going to mid, right?
Most likely. It's going to be another split pushing Jingwei.
We're going to see the Jingwei over in the dual lane again, just pushing it down. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. What is Bodega Hive's response? This is what I'm going to find out, because in game number 2, they tried to contest this split push consistently. And I mean, like, every time they tried to contest it, and it felt like there were times where you shouldn't have been contesting it. You should have been looking towards the objective. How are you going to adapt if you are Bodega Hive? We do see Vibe Tribe hovering and then locking in that Ganesha. That's been in the hands of Darth Dumbledore this entire set. He's been doing a very solid job at just peeling for his team and really placing those Dharmic pillars. One, to help it secure and steal away a Gold Fury in game number 1, but also a lot of good zoning potential that he's been doing. And I've been seeing, somebody got locked down on top of those Dharmic pillars in the last game and ate a huge chunk of their damage, which ended up following up into a kill.
Yeah, very much so. Ganesha is just one of those gods that he's just super strong. I'm still a firm believer that Ganesha should be doing tick damage when he silences, but it seems like I'm the only one riding that train.
Yes, you are. And there's the door. As a matter of fact, you can find yourself on out of here. Because no. I'm not even getting into that discussion. Yeah, like I said, there's the door. If you want, you can go. We're never going to speak of this moment again. Geb gets locked in for Bodega Hive for their support since the Ganesha got taken away. This is another pick that we've seen Darth Dumbledore on a few times throughout the season. Does play it very solidly. Yeah, there you go. That was the sentence I was looking for. He's very solid on this pick.
Rock solid.
Rock solid indeed. The Bastet seems to be the play for Jungle Jimmy, though, at least so Bodega Hive thinks, as they lock it again here, and that Wheelix pick gets locked in again for the Vibe Tribe. 2 knockups already, and add on to the Wheelix on top of it, and you got the leap of the Bastet, and I guess, we'll just go with this A-Will yet again.
Yeah, as we're seeing here, just kind of somewhat of a repeat of the gods that had been picked from last game, except for the Kukulkan being in there. But Bastet and Elwheelix just very strong. And we see the tier respect band.
Was the tier ban necessary? Did it do a whole lot? I feel like it had a couple good stuns, but that was really about it. The Thor seemed a little bit more reasonable because that Thor was getting into the back line quite a lot, in whether it was just getting a cleanup kill on somebody who was running away, who thought they were safe, or just landing in the middle of a team fight, getting a 2-man, 3-man stun with that Anvil of Dawn. But the tier was an interesting one. The Chalk and the Nike, I guess we're just banning all the solo lane picks from this set. So nobody, you're not going to play your tier 2, game 2 solos. You're not going to play your game 1 solos. What are you going to pick in the solo lane is the question.
Who knows? But I do think it's some sort of a waste for Vibe Tribe banning the Thor. Yeah, the Thor was really good on Ben Dizzle, but you have a Ganesh who could really just shut him out pretty quickly if he lands on your backline. Just ohm him out, and there's no way he can escape. So I do think it's just kind of a wasted ban, in my opinion. But I'll let these teams cook.
Osiris is the first pickup here in the second phase for the Vibe Tribe. This is that pick that shows up in Smite once a year. And it's generally around Worlds time where we see this come out, mostly because somebody decides to play it on Worlds, puts on a show because everybody forgets how to play as or against this pick. And everybody then after Worlds thinks they can play it. So it looks like Vibe Tribe is about 2 weeks too early on that train, but they're going to show us what we're maybe going to get a glimpse of at Worlds. Rama, though, getting locked in for Bodega Hive, a good clearing god. And then there's the Achilles, who saw some good buffs in this recent patch.
Yeah, Achilles is one of those strong warriors during this whole late season. He is somewhat weak into clearing the minions, but if you just pretty much focus on your enemy god, you should be perfectly fine. Try to poke out the Osiris and then worry about the lane later.
Yeah, I don't think you want to be focusing your attention over on the Osiris. As we see the Ishtar get locked in, another ADC, so yes, we can very much assume that Get That Critter is going to be piloting that Jingwei yet again over in the mid lane. So, what do you do if you're Bodega Hive? What do you do if you're Vibe Tribe? I feel like I can see Vibe Tribe's plan here already, considering what they did with this Jingwei. Now, if I'm Bodega Hive, what am I looking at? I've got, yeah, it's so much scaling on both sides right now.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
You have a Kukulkan who could just put a tornado literally down on his forehead and shred any form of health onto anybody with that tornado. And as well, just the Spirit of the Nine Winds being super strong, being able to just one-shot anybody, and even confirm objective or soul steal objective, like how we've been seeing Bodega Hive do this entire set.
Yeah, they've just been kind of taking objectives left and right, whether it be Ben Dizzle, whether it be Jungle Jimmy and Darth Dumbledore combination, whether it be just Scooby Daddy Doo with the Janice snipe. They've been just, it wasn't even a Janice snipe, it was a Janice 2. So
Yeah.
wasn't that even that ultimate? It just kind of walked up and took it. Kind of criminal. But so far, everybody's still an objective. Now we have Midgod on this Rama. You know what? I see what's happening. You got to get Midgod to steal this game, or this set and this game.
Yeah. Everybody in the team got in the steal. Now it's the your ADC's time to shine.
I'm hoping that Bodega Hive isn't in a position to be forced to steal every objective. If it does happen, I do hope Midgod gets the steal, just for the meme at this point. You gotta. Yeah. However, given these two team comps, Vibe Tribe, again, the double hunter comp with the Awelix, they have a lot of potential to shred down these objectives. Bodega Hive, however, on the other side, you got Arama who does really good shred potential. You got Kukulkan who has really good shred and then really good secure potential. You got good beads burners with your Geb, with your Achilles, with your Bastet. You're going to be burning the relics over on Vibe Tribe at the same time. You got pick comp on one side, you got team fight comp on the other side, but both can do really good for objectives.
Yeah, very much so. Just having two ADCs, not even counting the the Asaris being an auto attack god, could shred objectives really quickly. And you have the cuckoo old for objective confirms. So I'm pretty interested in seeing how this goes, especially being our last game of the set.
We're going to find out how it goes as we're moving on into game number 3 here of Bodega Hive versus Vibe Tribe. It's the semifinals final here for the Walker division and Frank's retirement home. And already I'm seeing some interesting things. Okay, I see a chalice on the Jingwei.
Jingwei doesn't have a tier 1 item.
Correct. Now, I remember somebody doing this earlier in the season. They played Raijin. They didn't get a tier 1 item. They got a chalice. And I'm really starting to think it was Get That Critter. Now that I think back to that game. Now that I'm thinking about it, I want to say it was Get That Critter who did it.
If the shoe fits.
And the unfortunate part was they won. I can't remember who it was, but they won that game. That much I do know. Yeah, so that'll be interesting. Ward Vision getting placed very early on over here, though. Take a look at the red buff ward and a lower solo side ward in the jungle. I think it's okay to get that kind of vision, but also at the same time, Jungle X Jimmy just completely prevented himself from getting an entire wave. And in this early game, that kind of matters. You're not going to be ticking over to level 3, although it does help for Scooby Daddy Doo on this Kukulkan getting a couple early levels online. Talk about getting some stuff. Some good poke right now from Jungle X Jimmy onto its ISO. Kind of punishing him for being in this lane early.
Yeah. And as you said, giving Cuckoo that extra XP could help out during
Place those
going
words.
through this early game.
Who plays those? What was Jungle X Jimmy doing in the jungle? I don't know anymore, man. All I know is that he's over here on the dual lane side right now looking for a gank attempt onto the dual lane of the Vibe Tribe, getting caught in between right now, though. Ganesha Silence does come out. Is trying to backing flipping into the members of Bodega Hive and is going to walk away scot-free after taking a little bit of poke, it looks like, but the Rabadesh does come through and the shell is forced for the Vibe Tribe dual lane. Unfortunate, unable to secure that one. I feel like, little bit of just paying attention to where she just backflipped into and maybe some body blocks and you would have had yourself a first blood, but good pathing. I want to say from Vibe Tribe, being able to recognize that they could walk on out of there.
Yeah.
So close.
Kind of unfortunate that you couldn't get the kill on there.
Looks like it's ISO is going to be setting up to invade the first blue buff from Bodega Hive. Already over here, already taken it. Doesn't need to aim in the direction that they're doing their melee auto attacks, but that's perfectly fine. Feather steps and takes that one away from Bodega Hive. Unfortunate for the Achilles to not have that blue buff early, but into the Osiris, I don't think he's going to be too much of an issue. He's not going to be wanting to fight over there too much right now. I mean, sure, he has the kind of early pressure that the Osiris doesn't have, but no harm, no foul.
See the Ishtar and the Ganesha being able to, pressure them back to the tower line.
Speaking of being pressured back to the tower line, looks like Bendizzle's still just pushing Izakor out of this lane right now, and he's going to get that totem buff, which means no real trouble losing his blue buff. He's going to have the mana sustain from that alone. And over on the dual lane side, in Jungle X, Jimmy ends up stealing away the purple buff. So now we have an invade over on one buff from one side, over on the buff from the other side. And now he's doing his best to get away, but the Geb shield does come out. Ganesha dash just off the mark, looking for a little bit more, though, as Ganesh is a little bit low on the mana department. But it looks like it's Isos here floating around nearby, also very low on mana.
Yeah, I'm surprised that the Wheeling Soul didn't come out there. It probably was slightly nervous that she wouldn't have enough mana for any other ability.
I want to say either that or he threw the 3, didn't land, and then was like, cool, I have enough for a single ability. What do you do at that point?
Yeah, that's true.
One of those two happened.
Yeah.
Looks like Bodega Hive also stole away the green buff from Vibe Tribe. So 2 buffs now over on the dual lane side going the way of Bodega Hive. It's ISO making their way around the solo side jungle yet again. Gonna help out Bodega Hive by knocking down this back camp. Never mind. Are you gonna finish it? He is gonna finish it. All right, get that extra cooldown. What is it called? Is it a beacon? Is it a totem? They call him a totem, right? Yeah. Get that cooldown totem. Yeah, tiki totem. Yeah.
But also he gets the tiki totem and gives it to Bodega Hive.
Yeah.
I mean, I like trolling a bit and just, clearing out the minis, leaving that one up.
At that
just
point,
so
it's
you
not
know,
even worth it, you know?
Yeah, but then you see that because if you see the tiki change, it kind of indicates that somebody took it. For sure, it wasn't one of your teammates.
Right, and then at that point, you're looking over and you're like, okay, well, what's going to be spawning real soon? My blue buff? Well, maybe we need to be getting somebody in that direction as the Awilix is already here. But unfortunately, the blue buff does go down yet again, although it's really not putting a thorn in the side of Bendizzle's plans. He's got Phalanx. This is interesting. I'm excited. All right. Solo lane's getting exciting.
Phalanx is, a really good solo lane item. The Osiris is going to be looking into, auto and attacking you because it's an Osiris. And nice little buff for your lane minions.
I love this item just because it's so it's just so fun. So when you're getting auto attacked or you auto attack, as we just saw, like you said, that buff for the mid lane minions, just kind of stimming them up. It's fun, I think that one and Cannoneers, it's like, why are we building these? I don't know, but it's a good time.
And I haven't seen Cannoneers at all ever in a game. Now that you put that item in my brain, I might just build that in.
Oh boy.
In support.
Need to create a Cannoneers build now.
Yeah.
Gonna theory craft something special.
Very much so.
Not too much changing right now in the pace of the game. The only unfortunate part is that Devo's Gauntlet is on Get That Critter. He's going with that same build of the Devos into the Rage, it looks like. Stacking super late, though, in comparison to his lane counterpart, Scooby Daddy Doo. He's already got 40 stacks almost on this Book of Thoth.
It's that's pretty big on the Cuckoo Khan's part.
Yeah, but also look it over in the dual lane. It just seems like Bodega Hive is way ahead on their stacks entirely. You know, the only one who's in comparisonly close is the Ganesha and the Geb here with their Gauntlet of Thieves. But that's not really saying too much. You get that off of assist. Ishtar hasn't even backed yet. Now getting their back off, but Rama's already at 26 stacks here. Going to get another full wave. Well, minus 1 or 2 minions maybe because it's going the way of the tower, but look at that. Just now got that Gauntlet.
Now you just get the Gauntlet, you get a tier 2 item, but is it really worth when you're going to be extremely low on stacks against the Rama? Who knows? We'll have to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Bodega Hive needs to take advantage of that and go and apply pressure to the next purple buff. You got the first one. Well, first one, obviously natural. You got the second one. You lost the third one, though. Now, this next one that's going to be spawning, I want to see the pressure from Bodega Hive over there. I want to see this rotation. It's unfortunate that they're backing right now. Don't back. You're healthy. You got mana. Go for the buff. But... it's going to get the back off, and here comes the ultimate from the Ishtar Rama, though. You're taking this 1v1 right now, but it's not a 1v1 any longer. It's ISO makes a rotation on in, gets the knock up onto you, forces the beats, and ends up sending you to the gray screen. First blood going the way of It's ISO and Vibe Tribe. Yeah. That's what I wanted to see, but for Bodega, unfortunate.
That was a pretty late first blood.
It's only 9.5 minutes. What do you mean? It's only game 3 in the semifinals.
Yeah, but this is Walker division. First blood should be like every
30 seconds.
Every 30 seconds when lane minions clashes.
Just get it before. Let's go steal some buffs and see if people want to contest us then. Bring the invade meta back.
It was a good rotation. You have Sentry Ward in the Bodega's Hive's side of the jungle. So you don't see any wards from the Rama there. Willie's rotating high in that, where the Rama didn't even know you're coming. It was a great rotation from a Wheelix.
A little bit of lockdown right here on top of the Achilles, forcing that execute to come on out, but he's going to make himself right away, although they did expend 2 ultimates. This ISO ends up finding one over into the mid lane onto Scooby Daddy Doo. Does expend that gravity surge to get it, but gets it nonetheless. Looks like 4 ultimates used for Vibe Tribe and 1 kill.
I mean, if you put it like that.
Hey, we take those. We take those. What is interesting?
Like downplaying it.
I'm not downplaying it. Midgod has stacks completed on his gauntlet. Okay. However, Dipspit's not. But Dipspit's got about a level and a half right now on him with this Ishtar pick.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not sure who I want to have over in this dual lane apply pressure. Because, like, okay, you got a level and a half on one side, but you got gauntlet completed on the other side. Who's going to do something here?
Yeah, it's, it could be a coin flip at this point. Depending on how, depending if you could even land autos, right? 'Cause that's very heavily reliant on them.
I'm watching these jungles over, and the jungle just moving back and forth and back and forth and back and forth right now. A Will jumping over into the shield buff pit. Bastet ends up getting spotted out. Junglix Jimmy going to turn this into a dual lane right now in a 2v2, but doesn't notice it's ISO standing right there. It's going to be very unfortunate. He's going to jump the wall yet again to avoid any wards. Is that what is going to happen? Or is he going to set up for a bait right now as we see Dipspit going in for the invade, gonna get collapsed on because here comes Jungle X Jimmy right on back. Rama ends up rolling out into the Aurelix, but she jumps over the wall right past him, goes up into the air, and there goes the backflip from the Ishtar, and the ultimate comes out as well. Dropping those blades of retribution, Rama ends up coming on down. Huntress of Bass comes out, and so does the Gravity Surge, forcing the beads of the Rama, but still sending him back to the gray screen. Trying to save the purple buff, but you are unsuccessful as the Vibe Tribe steals that one away again.
The patience in that Helix is in another level.
She was just standing there menacingly. What are you gonna do?
And, you know, poor Rama not even knowing that the Helix was there.
That was great when he dashed into the shield buff pit and she jumped over the wall right past him. I was like, surely he gets away now, right? Just out of principle, but nah.
Goes up to the old, comes back down, gets knocked up, foresees the beads, and dead instantly.
Sounds about right. One thing is for certain, though, Vibe Tribe is picking themselves up a nice 3K lead here in game number 3. Yeah, 3K in game 3, 13 minutes into the game. Not too bad, I would say. Not a bad start.
Yeah, not a bad start at all. Now we see that some sort of level disparity too in ADC, the Soul Lane, and the jungle, and you know, slight difference in, you know, the mid lane as well, being a level down.
Everything right now is in favor of Vibe Tribe, though. XP, the gold, the kills, the pressure. It just feels like the momentum's in their favor. So, the one thing that I can say, though, when you look at Bodega Hive's draft, I see scalability in the jungle. I see scaling in the mid. I see scaling in the ADC. The only one who I see kind of early game pressure is going to be this Achilles, and then you have a Geb. And Geb's kind of good at all points of the game. Let's be honest. What are you going to do? Cataclysm. Then I'm going to knock him up. Then I'm going to probably shield to my team. Then I'm going to roll around and have fun. Yep, there he goes. See, look at him go. Anyway, just Geb things.
Yeah, and if, you know, we're pointing out the support, even the Ganesha, just good all around.
Right.
He could just silence you, stun you, slow you with his ult.
Well,
Jesus.
Yep. Yeah, that happened. 3 deaths now for the Rama. Yeah, not gonna have a good time. He's already not having a good time. He's been sent back 3 times already. Already crit online for both hunters for Vibe Tribe. I better see a Spectral come out a lot earlier for Darth Dumbledore than I did in game number 2.
Yeah. Even though, you know, Yeb has the anti-crit passive,
he's still leashing
but
that
he's still
Pyromancer. Finally ends up dropping it. There comes a Cataclysm. Spirit of the Winds came out as well, but ultimately nothing gets caught. But the Huntress of Bass ends up finding the Wheelix, gets a jump away, but ends up falling still. Jungle X Jimmy gets that one, and the Pyromancer ends up going down and goes for a Bodega Hive too. They started it. They pulled it for a long time. They leashed it. Vibe Tribe picked it up, but Bodega Hive took it in the end. Okay. Now it looks like Vibe Tribe wants to get something out of this. You lost your jungler. You lost the Pyromancer. And ultimately, it looks like you're just running away.
And that Bastet ult was incredible. Getting it through the wall, being able to pick her off, even behind like the tanks, behind the Osiris and Ganesha, being able to somewhat thread that needle and get the Wheelix with the old to get that easy kill, easy pick.
Oh yeah, that really shifted the tide in that little skirmish that we just saw. That one hit really changed it. And it didn't seem like it was like too crazy or it was a too big of a team fight, but something that small and a fight that small, just keeping things exactly where they need to be for Bodega Hive right now.
Yeah, and you're getting the shutdown because the Wilix is 4-1. You get that shutdown and giving it to the other jungler can work wonders for Bodega Hive, who's been kind of in the back foot this in this early game.
Not too bad though. It's a 4K game, so you extend it from 3K to 4K over the course of 4 minutes. Not too bad. Gold Fury is likely going to be the next objective that gets looked at, although the beacon is spawning momentarily. So we'll say the beacon's going to be the next objective. I say that, but then, you know, everybody walks away from the beacon and goes for something else. Vibe tried picking this one up first, getting on in there with their support. Miss Curly Fry was ready for this one on spawn, but now it looks like Darth Dumbledore's just bouncing and bouncing and bouncing and getting plucked back in, but the Cataclysm is good on a 3, and Spirit of the Nine Winds comes out as well. Double relics popped by the Jingwei, and yeah, that beacon goes down. Question mark. Beacon goes down in the way of Vibe Tribe. There we go. I wait till it's finished now.
You know, you can't have it like the past few games where, you know, they touch it and you call it and they leave.
It's just they get it close too. That's the frustrating part.
They just decide, you know what, we don't really need this.
All 5 members are here for the Vibe Tribe, and it looks like that Gold Fury is going to absolutely just get demolished. Spirit of the Nine Winds. I'm sorry, not Spirit of the Nine. Huntress of Bass ends up capturing the Ganesha. There we go. That was the ultimate I was looking for. Vibe Tribe is on the chase down right now. A horrific emblem does get used, and now it looks like they're in a difficult position. Kind of on the back foot and very low on the HP bars. And it looks like a shell gets used as well. Doing his best right now is Darth Dumbledore to get Scooby Daddy Doo on out of there, and he does just that. Ends up getting away himself as well. And now Midgod, who was trying to make a rotation on in to help his team, found himself in a very, very, very difficult position. Now sent back to the gray screen for the 4th time this game. That gravity surge was right on the money.
Yeah, very much so. Quite unfortunate for Midgod being, well, not quite unfortunate. It is kind of his fault being very out of position there. You know, you see your whole team running towards the mid lane. You're pushing, going towards the mid lane in the, through jungle. You kind of just dug your own grave on that. I was going to talk about builds. I see the Ganesha going for that Emp's armor. Second item.
Well, I think it seemed like in game number 2, when they felt like they were on a little bit of a roll, but we're going to hold that thought right now as the gravity surge gets used off of a nice knock-up onto Jungle Lake's Jimmy. But Spirit of the Nine Winds comes out, and Bodega Hive secure the Pyromancer. All right, another objective going the way of Bodega Hive off of the Vibe Tribe. They can't be getting away with this, right? Surely.
Surely, but you're Kukan. Kukan could just get away with that. That Spirit of the Nine Winds is a pretty long ult.
I suppose.
And you're behind a wall. I guess you could, you know, just send it flying and hope for the best, and you know the best did come out.
Forcing the beads on this Ishtar. Good lockdown, good grouping right now. Another gravity surge comes out, and Scooby Daddy Doo ends up falling to Yzakor ultimate over the top as well. And now Bodega Hive are chasing down the members of Vibe Tribe. Darth Dumbledore ends up falling, and they are chasing through mid, seeing who they could find down. The Achilles ultimate is forced to use to try to get himself away. Does exactly that, but hopefully not for... Hopefully he gets away. This tier 1 tower is falling, and he's going to be in a very precarious position right now, surrounded by 4 members of the Vibe Tribe. Yeah, that's, I guess, why you go the Em's armor. Huntress of Bass ends up securing onto the Ganesha, but, I mean, you just kind of pulled him into the tower, so now he can be using that Em's armor.
If you see here, the Ishtar and the Jingwei kind of swap places. The Ishtar being in the mid lane while Jingwei is split pushing.
Places. Get that killer goes to duo lane. It's past 20 minutes. What do you mean? We knew this was going to happen. I watched game number 2. I was there.
Yeah, but he pretty much split pushed at the end of the game. Towards, what, 15 minutes towards the end of the game?
It was
this is an early...
Let's be honest. He was there for a while.
That is true. I mean, Get That Critter is a specialist on split pushing. I think almost everybody in
what you want to be a specialist on.
I think everybody knows in Walker Division that he is a big split pusher.
See, here I would have thought it would have been the Frank teleport special that would have been the split push thing, but no. It's our Jingwei mid laner.
And
She made her way back over to mid, I guess. For now.
for now,
For now. Oni
give it
Fury
like
is
another 5
spawned.
minutes.
Right, no kidding. Oni Fury is spawned, and the beacon's going to be spawning shortly after. Now, the members of Vibe Tribe are grouping up on over here in the mid lane. A little bit of a 3v3 right now. Hopefully, Bodega Hive can take the advantage in this fight as they have their fourth member here. But it just doesn't seem like the recognition of understanding that, well, A, Needs ISO's not here. B, Easycore's not here. And I think, C, it comes down to because you don't have the ward vision. Look at the amount of wards over on, well, just the entirety of the map around these objectives, around the Gold Fury pit, around the Fire Giant pit. They're all Vibe Tribe.
Yeah, all red.
Yeah.
See a small hint of blue now going into Gold Fury, but this whole game had just been more dominant from Vibe Tribe.
Darth Dumbledore rolling into his backline right now because Midgard is finding himself again caught out just a little bit too much. Gets up into the air and it looks like the Awelix is going to fall. How fortunate can you be? But I'm sure once you land, you're going to be next. No way does he make it through right now and ends up threading the needle, doing his best to get away. Ben Dizzle ends up finding Dip Spit for Lubin. Now Bodega Hive is in the driver's seat of this team fight. The Gab rollout comes out and get that critter. Ends up finding Midgard. Where did you come from? Where are you going? Right into the tier 2 tower of Bodega Hive. Scooby Daddy Doo, though, ends up finding that one before you could do just that. 3 members down now for Vibe Tribe. And Bodega Hive is chasing down, seeing who they can get. And it looks like Ganesh is going to end up falling next. As they do, Miss Curly Fry ends up dropping to Jungle X Jimmy. Now this Osiris is all by himself and against 4 members of Bodega Hive.
Yeah, that was very a weird fight. I thought, Vibe Tribe had that in the bag for that game. Okay, I got scared. I thought the Osiris stole that. It seemed like Vibe Tribe had that team fight in the bag, but it was pretty much good rotations. They had lucky Rama ult going up immediately as the Wheelix jumps towards him to secure that kill. Shout out to the Kukan being able to peel off the Osiris, but as well as God knows where that Jingwei came from. Get that kill.
I have no idea how she got there. I'm going to be entirely honest. I was like, yes, the Rama is out, and Midgard deserved it at that point. Just got to put my man down like that. He wanted to just live one of these fights. But team fight, 1, check. Gold Fury, 1, check. Pyromancer, check. Now make your way out over to the dual lane, solo lane. Split pushing in the mid lane is Dip Spit for Lube. Going to go in. Setting Jungle X Jimmy on over there. But Bodega Hive has now brought this game out right on back to where they needed it.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this in game 2. You send the jungler over, some apparent reason where you could send the Achilles over, who has TP. It does seem like he's getting poked out by that Awelix. He's down.
Yeah, it looks like a nice collapse going on right now, although she's rather low. Gonna get forced off by the Rama ult. Good recognition there from Midgard. And I don't think Jungle X Jimmy is enough to stop Dip Spit for Lube over here in the mid lane. The ultimate did come out from the Ishtar, and it so did from Jungle X Jimmy right now on this Bastet. Kinda just, you lost a tier 2 tower. Oh well, okay, but let's not lose too many members now. Otherwise, you're gonna end up losing a Fire Giant, and that's not what you want.
Yeah, I think neither team wants that. And if you're Vibe Tribe, you have the gold lead. You have.
I mean, Vibe Tribe wants that.
Yeah,
Bodega
sorry.
Hive loses members.
yeah, Bodega Hive loses members at all.
Man, Vibe Tribe's real upset right now, but
I completely forgot what I was trying to say. But
hey, look here. I'll tell you one. Look who's in duo lane right now.
Man.
Was
was I right? Give it 5 minutes and the Jingwei will be right there.
Go away. Nobody wants you here.
Boo.
Can't you see you're not welcome? Bodega Hive, though, recognizing it and picking up the Fire Giant, and they end up taking that one away. This is what I needed in game number 2. Recognize somebody's not here. Take the objective for yourself.
Shout out to Bodega Hive. I mean, they even got that without the Cuckoo being there. It was somewhat iffy when the pillars came out from the Gadesha. It was, you know, slightly nervous on where the Fire Giant was gonna go there. Luckily, Bodega Hive gets the reward for their hard work.
Okay. Now, game number 1. Bodega Hive snuck a Fire Giant. Momentum instantly swung in their favor off of a bad team fight after Vibe tried to do. Game number 3. Bodega Hive sneaks a Fire Giant. Here's a 5v5 grouping in mid. What is going to happen?
If
Spirit of the Nine Winds is going to happen on Oracles. Okay.
now it gives nobody the division on that because he did take one Oracle.
Did he?
Yeah, I believe so. Seemed like
Nope, he
when
did
they
not.
went, no, damn.
Didn't even get one, yeah.
Quite unfortunate then.
Oh, you do not want to be up here right now, Ben Dizzle. Get on out of there. That's a little bit of a lockdown happening, but over is your back line kind of getting pushed out by the members of Bodega Hive. Now a collapse in here in the mid lane. That Ishtar's very low on mana, is not able to dash away right now, has absolutely nothing, forced to use the Aegis, and Darth Dumbledore is getting bounced around yet again. That's the second time this game. Huntress Bass comes out and forces the beads from the Wheelix. A Frenzy gets popped by Bodega Hive, and they are marching in on right now, trying to see what they can get, and it looks like Darth Dumbledore is going to be the first to fall to Izakor, but Vendel ends up finding Miss Curly Fry. Both supports now dead for these two teams, and the fight yet continues here. Who's going to end up falling next? A nice little knockup goes for the Achilles, but he's going to walk away from that one, no problem. The Ishtar still out of mana. Rama goes up in the air, lands one, and that's all he needs, but so does the Spirit of Nine Winds hits. Midgod ends up finding Dipspit for Lube, and now Jingwei is getting chased down. Beats and Aegis both dumped. Still ends up falling to the dot damage. You can't stop that. Scooby Daddy Doo ends up finding its ISO, and now there's only one member remaining yet again for the Vibe Tribe. What did I say? They sneak? They sneak the Fire Giant. They take a fight here in the mid lane. They lose the fight here in mid lane. I swear. Look at that. You know what? I'm seeing game number 1 happen all over again at this rate.
Yeah. It's, an instant replay from game number 1. Exactly how you described it is what happened.
I can so foresee the future. Be prepared. Pyromancer going down, middle Phoenix down. You still have 2 Phoenixes up. So you got to be a little bit cautious, I guess. You want to make sure you clean up the rest of this map before you just run in. You got those backdoor protections up. You don't have any minions. Yeah, probably a good call for them.
Yeah, and shout out to Bodega Hive being able to, somewhat kind of mitigate that split push that Vibe Tribe's been going for this entire game.
Now we see a little bit of a grouping here around this Gold Fury. Bodega Hive zoning very nicely with this Basset Achilles. It seems like Jungle X, Jimmy, and Ben Dizzle have been just playing off of each other consistently.
Yeah, very much so. I did have a chat with Ben Zizzle the other day, and
nice.
he's heavily reliant with Jungle Jimmy during early game, during pretty much the whole game. Those two have been inseparable.
Oh, you can definitely tell, and it's
together.
showing. Spirit of the Nine Winds comes out, and it does not connect. However, the tier 2 tower does end up falling. You're 40 seconds out from the next Fire Giant, and I think they're happy just taking that one. Again, we saw this happen in game number 1. You're going to clear up this tower, you're going to back, you're going to go for this next Fire Giant. You take that Fire Giant, they're going to take the tier 2 tower over in the solo lane, and they're going to, how do you just aim in that direction and shoot behind you? You know what? Thank you for defying all my laws. Smite spectator, ladies and gentlemen.
They're cheating. They're cheating. That's all I can say. But look at all those wards that Vibe Tribe has
Pull
in
it.
Bodega Hive's
Pull it.
jungle.
Pull it. Look who's in the dual lane. Pull it. Yes, they do. They pull the objective. Let's go. All right, but this isn't Hans Fire Giant. It's not going to be. And they leak shit right away. Guys, you Phoenix. Guys. Oh, don't everybody back now. That's one person who backs. The second person canceled. The Phoenix is losing HP. The Fire Giant has not been pulled. The poke war is going on. We're moving at half speed. Deacon. Beatsnake gets dropped by the Kukulkan off of the Osiris ultimate. Nice slow motion replay. Spirit of the Nine Winds comes right on through. Jungle X Jimmy ends up get that critter on over there, sending him to the gray screen. Now it's a 4v4 over here, and hopefully Jungle X Jimmy can rotate his way on into this fight, because there are some low HP bars right now on both sides. Shell gets expended from Miss Curly Fry. A lot of relics dropped on both sides.
Love the the slow motion. It gives us time to recognize what's going on during that fight, and they pulled Fire Giant. I hope they do.
The Ishtar is here and very healthy, but so is a Wheelix here, not very healthy. 5 members strong in Bodega Hive. Make that 4 members. Bodega Hive ends up securing the EFG. All this time over in the dual lane, Jungle X Jimmy is returning the favor to get that critter, pushing down that Phoenix line. Rama's up in the air, getting a couple snipes off onto somebody, somewhere, anywhere. But meanwhile, Osiris is trying to fight the back line of Bodega Hive. Phoenix goes down over in the dual lane. And now it looks like Jungle X Jimmy's got his eyes set on the mid lane. Phoenix marches his way on in there, takes that one as well. Does he get on out of there? Because the rest of his team, well, they are long gone. There goes the Huntress of Bass onto the Jing Wei, and now he's trying to do his best to live. He ends up finding it's ISO, though. And now this... Oh, yeah, you get shut down after that one. You know what? 1 for 1.
Yeah. 1 for 1, and you get Fire Giant, and you take the 2 Phoenix. So I would say it's pretty worth dying there. You take an enemy down, you take their Phoenixes, and, you get a team-wide buff.
Where's the Blood Forge? That's what I gotta ask.
Not needed.
I mean, it's not like anybody from Vibe Tribe has built any anti-heal.
Yeah.
They don't have a divine because they don't have a mage. They don't have any... They don't have Brawler's Beatstick on this Wheelix. If he has Blood Forge, he gets the health shield.
I think they're just getting heavily
It's okay.
Prioritizing the dot damage.
Spirit of the Nine Winds rips through, securing that Oni Fury and half healthing the Osiris, sending him on back, making him jump on away with that ultimate. 2 Phoenixes down, all 5 members up. Fire Giants on 4 members of Bodega Hive, and only 1 tower and 1 Phoenix remaining for the Vibe Tribe.
I was gonna say, what else could we go for if I'm in the Bodega team?
The tier 2 tower and the Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
B coming up. If you see someone going towards
forget the beacon.
I doubt somebody will.
Why? We don't need the beacon.
You have 1 person over there, so if you're 5 stack like how they are now, you get to see 1 person in the beacon. Is an easy 5v4. There's going to be a 5v3 coming up towards D2.
So, do we think she's going to split push all the way? Okay, so it looks like instead they send Ben Dizzle to defend the Phoenix this time. Huntress of Bass does come out, but it looks like it's a little bit off the mark, trying to get a little bit of some kind of poke over here. But now Ganesha in a difficult position as the tier 2 tower does fall for the Vibe Tribe. Trying to defend that, probably not the best play. Back does come out for Dipspit, but the Spirit of the Nine Winds came out as well. And now it looks like Vibe Tribe is trying to get some chase down over here, as they are 5 members strong versus the 4. Now 5 from Bodega Hive. We forced you to back. make you come on back here, Jingwei. Now what are you gonna do now that it's a 5v5 yet again?
Yeah, you know, they should have been doing this in game 2, um sending the solo lane with a TP to stop the split push. And look how that worked for them. Oh
Ooh.
my goodness.
Scooby, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Scooby Daddy Doo just deleted the HP bar of Dipspit. Speaking of deleted, there goes the Phoenix. The Huntress of Bass lands onto a Wheelix, forcing the beads of that character. Rama goes up in the air, seeing if he can get a little bit more damage off. 5 members here of Bodega Hive. EFG is worn off, but Ganesha is also worn out. Scooby Daddy Doo sends that one back to the gray screen. Osiris a little bit low. Spirit of the Nine Winds comes ripping through, forcing that Osiris back into base. Vibe Tribe's Phoenix is respawned, but it doesn't matter because Vibe Tribe's Titan is under siege, down to half health, and it's all Bodega Hive. 2-1. This set ends, and Bodega Hive makes their way to finals.
Now we have our 2 finalists, but you know, Bodega Hive being able to adapt towards that Vibe Tribe comp of the double ADC, the split push, you know, finally sending Ben Dizzle, who could go there, show face, make the Jingwei back, and being able to teleport back into the team fight is great adaptation from Bodega Hive, and granted, giving them the win.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely the decision making. The decision to the first time around, you saw the Jingwei over there, pick up that objective instantly. That was the big game changer, in my opinion, because they took that at Fire Giants, like I said just a second ago, instantly. They burned it down. They took it, no contestation whatsoever. And then the same thing that happened in game number 1. They took a fight in mid. They lost the fight in mid. There goes the tier 2 tower. There goes the Phoenix. The exact same thing happened as in game number 1. And I don't know if it's just the Bodega Hive style of, you know, maybe we can lose a little bit in the early game, sneak an objective here, bait them into some bad fight, and then come out on top and force it down. But I do want to see next week maybe a little bit more of a game plan in the early game. I gotta say, a little bit more of something in the early game, and hopefully it's helping my guy Mid God out because he was not having it.
Yeah, and you know, it's quite unfortunate being the ADC there and just getting 16k damage through the whole game. But you were being camped quite a bit from the that Awilix. But yeah, I do want to see some sort of help for Midgod coming up towards finals. All in all, very good games. Seems like Bodega Hive and Vibe Tribe keep getting into this sort of pattern on going 2-1 every time they play against each other.
Oh, they got into it, and that's about it. Never going to be having that one again. Nope, that's it, because Vibe Tribe is going home, and Bodega's making their way on to the grand finals to face off against Calder's Good Boys next week. 2-1 goes this semifinal set, and well, that'll do it for us tonight. You had me, Zach Vexel, over on the cast with Dave O'Combs, and spectating for us tonight was Deacon. I want to thank you all for coming out, and well, we'll see you later this week for, I think we have another set for Canes still, but then the finals for the Walkers. So we will see you then. Thank you, and have a good night.
Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year. Yeah, that's right. That's the thing.